Day it is. Guess what day it is? Huh? Anybody? Julie, hey, guess what day it is? Oh, come on, I know you can hear me. Mike. What day is it, Mike? Leslie, guess what today is?
It's hump day.
Woo-hoo!
Okay. So
Oh,
you were you muted yourself somehow.
I muted myself somehow. Got it. How's everybody doing? Do you guys
wait a
know what
second.
today is?
Wendy Bell Radio is live.
Hey, guess what today is?
Hump day.
It is hump day. That was so anticlimactic. Sort of like watching Fauci. What'd you guys think? Give me a comment. Share with me your comments. Did you see any of it? I don't know, Brock, if CNN or any of the networks carried that.
No, we watched it with the Fox and
on Benny
the committee.
Johnson's.
Yeah.
On Benny Johnson's page, right?
Give it time. Sound's coming back.
Oh. Do you want me to wait?
No, they're just behind.
Oh, there is a delay. I will give you that much. So what'd you guys think? Like, what'd you hear? What didn't you hear? What were your observations? I think he's scared to freaking death. I think the beginning scared him to death, and I think the end scared him to death. When Rand Paul looked at Ron Johnson and he's like, we've got the fifth, we've got a pardon, we've got a contempt vote. We've got to deal with this. And then Catherine Herridge dropped something during his testimony. I don't think this is over by any stretch. I
told you this morning, I said, he's going to take the fifth.
Yep.
And here's why I thought he was going to take the fifth. They don't know if that auto pen pardon's going to hold up. They don't know. So better to take contempt right now. And this is going to tell them for everybody.
Did you hear what Ashley Moody asked? They were very particular. The senators, the Republican senators were very specific. And she's like, it's interesting that your pardon goes to January 1st, 2014, which is the time when you started giving money to EcoHealth Alliance and y'all started doing some dangerous crap in Wuhan. Is that why you got that pardon? So we didn't know about that? Is that what's going on there? Bernie Moreno was fantastic. Josh Hawley was great. Ron Johnson. You really got to see their individual personalities and what each of them gloms onto. Like Ron Johnson has had so many roundtables with victims of the jab. So he's gone. Like,
can I say this personally? Not that these people will be listening, but to all the people in my life who defended this piece of shit and called me crazy, said I was a disgrace for working with her, that we were putting people's lives in danger. I advise you to take the advice of Anthony Fauci's attorney and shut the F up. And if anyone I know,
it's personal,
is still friends with some of the people that defriended me, please clip this and send it to them. You and your medical degrees and telling me how much you know and your research. Piss off. Thank you. This made me angrier today.
I never for a moment thought that we were off. I never for a moment in this whole process thought that we were off. Guys, we did freaking BS boards that took us hours hours to collate the data. Do you guys remember the one on how many children had actually died? I should see if I can pull that up.
All I know is I'm not allowed to post on Facebook right now, so I can't post it on Facebook. Or
Why are you not allowed?
I have no idea. They shut me down. And there's nowhere that I can fight it.
Is that like when your page gets hacked and they put out gross, like pustules, bulging cysts in eyeballs going like this? And people are like, why are you posting such weird stuff? And I'm like, right.
That's why the pet show hasn't been on Facebook on my Facebook page for the last 3 weeks.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So
See,
if you're on my
so
Facebook page or you have Facebook, clip that, put it on there and say, this is for all Brock's people who disagreed with him. And they know
not
who they
Brock's
are.
people. It's family.
Yeah.
Oh, it's family. You know who you are. We know who you are.
Yeah, you're a piece of
disgrace.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Welcome to your daily dose of facts to fight off the liberal gaslighting.
You can be in the middle of a hurricane.
You have sanctuary in the city of Chicago.
Or you can be on a calm day. North is still north. You could be in a thunderstorm.
I am angry. We are not going back. Not ever.
North is still north. People can yell at you.
The hell with the Supreme Court. We will defy them.
North is still north. It doesn't change fundamental things. And in this business, right is still right, even if you stand by yourself.
We don't get fooled again. No.
Live across the fruited plain and from sea to shining sea, we're converting the Marxist left 1 hour at a time on the Wendy Bell radio program.
Well, hello, America. Greetings to all of you across the beautiful fruited plain. Happy hump day from us here at the Wendy Bell radio program. WendyBellRadio.com. Follow along the live video stream. I have one burning question going through my mind right now. Is he bigger than the law? Anthony Fauci, Dr. Science on the hot seat. For a hot second, taking the fifth 111 times, answering not one single question, because that is all you need to know, ladies and gentlemen. We've got all of the sound bites for you, the information, all of the things you already know, that he is too small of a human being to admit that he did. We're going to talk about. If you're new, I'm delighted you are. Hang out. I hope you like us. I know you will. Duh. Because we tell the truth and we're common sense conservative people, period. How nice is that? Welcome home, my friends. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amen. You know, we had no doubt when we started tapping into common sense. No doubt back in 2020 that we were right, that we were on the right path, that we were asking the right questions, that we were tapping the right brakes. For a year, Brock and I sat there and listened to these coronavirus task force updates every night during our show, during the afternoon drive time here in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And we listened and we looked at each other through the glass the way we do now, 6 years later. And we were like, I am so not buying what these people are selling. And then we started to get busy. And we started digging into the CDC website. And we started reading all of the research and what we were being told. And we followed all those little hyperlinks that they started moving around to make it harder for us to verify, to find the data that they were putting out. You know how they changed the death certificates. They had all of the world's morticians and funeral directors and all that stuff come together for a powwow. Hey, I know the dude ran a motorcycle into a tree, but he was COVID positive. That's a COVID death. That happened. We chronicled it. Don't let your kids go out without getting the shot. Shut down the schools, ruin your life, take away their childhood. And we checked it and said, curious. Actually, the number of children who have died from COVID is so negligibly small, and they all had to have a minimum 4 comorbidities. Like a congenital heart defect, like diabetes, cancer, asthma, morbid obesity, all of these things. That's what was killing kids, not COVID. Yeah, we exposed that. The garbage numbers that they do every day tried to scare you with. We went back and hunted and pecked and found the real numbers. And then had to start asking ourselves, my Lord, there are an awful lot of people out there that want all of us scared to death. And some people were, and a lot of us weren't. And if you weren't, I bet you found us. Because that's where the Wendy Bell radio program started to take off, where everybody else was following what everybody else was saying, like, oh, go out and do this. We were like, why? Where's the money? Who's getting the contracts? How much is it worth? Why are we buying personal protective equipment from China? The same people where the virus came from. Make this make sense. We looked at each other through the glass. Brock and I did. The window separating his producer space from my studio locale. And we looked at each other and stared at each other as in Pittsburgh, our mayor, boop, 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 brought in dump trucks full of sand to fill in the skate parks so nobody could ride skateboards or what have you. Right? They snipped off the hoops of all of the basketball nets, all of the nets from the rims, because that made sense. And then we saw video of people at the beach by themselves, sitting alone in the sand, getting arrested by the police. And Brock and I looked at each other and said, there is something so bizarre happening here. It is wholly un-American, and we will fight it every damn step of the way. And then the $3.5 trillion to make sure you stayed home, stayed calm, and stayed high. Did you guys get any COVID money? I didn't. 100,000 restaurants closed during that time. They didn't need to. Schools didn't have to lock down. Our elderly didn't have to die alone in nursing homes. We didn't have to put off weddings. We didn't have to not go to funerals. Right? We didn't have to be isolated. We didn't have to be brainwashed. And we weren't. The hours we spent writing those BS boards, chronicling line by line by line, giving you the sources of the data so you could fact check us, because by golly, nobody else was telling the truth. Today was vindication. I'm pissed. I'm angry. I'm upset at the Democrat Party, at their shameful performance in today's Senate Homeland Security meeting, where Fauci said, I'm not going to answer a damn question of yours, and where the question came up at the end, contempt of Congress. You have a presidential pardon. You don't have to take the fifth, unless, of course, your precious ego is worried about what the Americans who fell at your altar of glory and science will now look at you as a monster, a serpent with a split tongue who said one thing publicly and another thing privately. And while you were being encouraged to test your family for freaking COVID in the garage before Thanksgiving dinner, this guy was hobnobbing with other scientists so that they would nominate him for prizes so he could get rich while forcing you to stay home. I take the fifth. Really? Do you now? There was one audio soundbite that was the gold of all gold. And we've got about 5 of them coming up in the second half hour of today's program. Something that I say commonly on this show, there is not a punishment sufficient for me to feel like we're equal if these people went down in any way. What could you actually do to Dr. Anthony Fauci that would be equal to the suffering that he inflicted on this country? It's one thing. Disgrace. That is a disgraced human being. And now, as honest, common sense individuals, we must look at all of the people who parroted all of his claims, who failed to think critically or do even an iota of their own homework. And these were people in your mainstream media who today just don't understand, where are all the views? Where did all the people go? What happened to the money? You see, I think the only people late to the party, the only people who still haven't caught on are the ones who swooned at Anthony Fauci and made him a god. What an absolute disgrace. And so, as it always goes, now you're going to have knowledge. You're going to hear what he said. You're going to hear what the senators asked. You're going to be left with anger and that decision that you have to make about the people in your life who told you you were wrong, who ridiculed you for standing up and saying, you know what, I usually like science, but I'm not trusting it this time. How about all those people who tried to demonize you for not getting a shot? Because you stood up for what you believed in, and that was your common sense. I hope those people get the Acme frying pan to the face today, because you were wrong. You were wrong. You were conned. You were fooled. You were duped, and we told you so. And you know what the bummer of that is? I get nothing out of saying that. Damage done. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, no matter how hard the left tries to run from it, America wants what America wants, and America wants one thing. Harry Enton, amazed. The polling for voting ID, what? Next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. I'll never forget taking Jack out to film school at Loyola Marymount University, or his degree there in film. And my sister's like, oh, I'll make reservations for you and mom and dad, Jack and my family and you. Oh, you're still not vaccinated, are you? And I'm like, nope. She's like, well, we can't go out to that one restaurant I really liked. And I'm like, you guys can do whatever the hell you want. I can sit at your house or a hotel and eat a pizza. I don't have to be involved. Y'all are vaccinated. That's fine. You do you. I don't care. Literally had no bearing on me whatsoever. I was like, wow, what a crying shame. I want to tell you about Purance Hydrolift Volumizing Shampoo. I'm going to tell you about it more tomorrow. But I want to tell you I brought it, and I have it sitting here. And I want you to hang out and pay attention because I'm a little bit of a billboard today, and I don't know what tomorrow is going to look like. While I think about that, I want to thank Bloodflow7, bloodflow7.com/Wendy. Bloodflow7, nitric oxide, relaxes your blood vessels. It's a gas molecule, relaxes your blood vessels so more blood can flow through. And you can imagine when they open up a blocked vessel around the heart, how much people feel relief. They're like, oh my gosh, I feel so much better. That's bloodflow7.com/Wendy. 30% off. The feeling you get, the change you have, the stamina, the strength, all of it. The lack of the wall in the afternoon and then sleeping like a boulder. It's less than $1 a day. I say it every day, and I will not quit until you guys try it. Bloodflow7.com/Wendy. The one thing I can tell you in my life that has legitimately changed my life, bloodflow7.com. 100%.
You can talk about hydrolift today.
It's all right. You said you needed it tomorrow.
I
and
just,
goofed.
I
I'm
just
sorry.
took care of it.
I will then after this, because soon it's gonna.
Soon?
It's not gonna be down. It's hot. How you doing? Oh, Harry. So what'd you guys think? Like, I'm trying not to be too pissed. Just when you hear the details that the senators go through and how the Democrats run cover for him and still try to,
Blame Trump.
is still try to exalt him as though he is this deity of science. It's so gross. Again, you see the Democrats on the wrong side of freaking everything. They're on the wrong side of everything. On the wrong side of violent protests, of virus, of wars, of Iran, of anti-Semitism, of money, of mortgage rates, like all of it. They're on the wrong freaking side of all of it. No. Harry Enton, all the news was talking about this big testimony, Tony Fauci appearing before a Senate Committee on Homeland Security called by congressional subpoena to testify, right? And this is all of the steps and ultimately what's going to happen. We don't know what's going to happen to the presidential pardons that were rendered by an auto pen. There was one wet signature, and the wet signature went to Biden's family and his son, right? But not for Fauci. And so as that whole process, or the people that Joe Biden's auto pen pardoned legitimately and lawfully, constitutionally protected, it's going to be heard. It's going to be a conversation. These senators today opened the door. And we will talk extensively coming up about that. But one of the things that has not wavered, as we've been waiting for the Republicans in the Senate to grow a pair, I mean, just a nice set of huevos goes a long way in the Senate. We can't seem to get anybody there to get them. How many Americans still want voter identification? A lot. Here's Harry.
Okay, so we're talking about voters favoring photo ID to vote. Among all voters, we're talking 77%. And this is uniform, basically, or universal, I should say. Universal. Democrats, 62%. Independents, 77%. Republicans, 95%. This is something that is popular across the political spectrum. It is a rare thing that is popular across the political spectrum. When it comes to voter ID, the voters are with President Trump on this, whether they're Democrats, independents, or Republicans. Overall, very clear. We're talking about 3 and 4 overall who support the idea of photo ID in order to vote.
Okay, so that's not changed. We want what we want, and our elected leaders aren't freaking listening. Harry comes back. Well, what about proof of citizenship to even register to vote? Yeah, America wants that too.
So, document proving citizenship to vote. What you can see here is, again, it's clear the majority are for it. The majority are with President Trump here. We're talking about 54% of Americans. We've seen this in poll after poll after poll. It is lower than the voter ID, but it is clear. You get that 54% who support it. You get 37% opposed, which is a sizable minority, but definitely lower than the majority. And then among independents, which is a group that President Trump has really struggled with, you still see it here, right? You see the majority of it, or the plurality of independents, 49% supporting the idea of needing document proving citizenship to vote, 49% versus 38% who are opposed. So whether it's overall or independents, yes, the support is lower than it is for voter ID, but it is very clear that the majority of people are in fact for it.
Okay, so the reason I wanted to play that for you isn't because, newsflash, we all believe that only citizens should vote in our elections. But I'm going to call BS on that poll. See, every single poll they've dropped since the big one that said, hey, 82, 83, 84% of America wants this. They've been watering it down, dropping the numbers. Now, all of a sudden, it's just 49% of something of independents want this. Bull crap. I say bull crap. They use polling to desensitize you to something that's normal that should happen and to put it in your mind that maybe not. Why do I say that? McLaughlin and Associates this week just dropped a poll of their own, okay? And this finds overwhelming support for the core of the Save America Act. 82%, not 77%, as Harry Enton wants you to believe. 77% is still huge. 82% of voters say only U.S. citizens should vote in federal elections. 78% support requiring proof of citizenship to register, not the 58% that Harry Enton tried to talk to you about. See, this is what so frustrates me, because there's not even one source of data that you can rely on for just giving you the black or white truth. Every single thing has been baked in a poo shell to sway you in one direction, and the direction is away from the truth. Look, this hearing, Senate Homeland Security hearing today, a handful of Democrat senators showed up, and they walked in not to hear Rand Paul, as the chairman, give his speech, but to ask a question or to have their 5 minutes of bloviating before they stood up and walked out. This was a global pandemic that shut down our economy for the better part of a freaking year. And the Democrats couldn't be bothered to get their asses into the seats, to show you the respect that you deserve. That's my takeaway. These polls, these news headlines, these talking heads, these things that they put out there to convince you that no, you're wrong. It's not just American citizens who should vote. That's so exclusionary. That's contrary to what the founders thought. And you're like, oh my God, you're that far gone. We are that far gone, ladies and gentlemen. The Democrat Party cannot show up, cannot do the job for which they were elected, cannot answer the questions that you deserve the answers to. They cannot ask them. They cannot tell you the truth. And in the next 5 audio sound bites, you're going to hear the spectrum of the American citizens' frustration with a deep state government that exists not to serve us, but to serve itself. 5 clips, 1 F-bomb, and 111 times Tony Fauci gave the middle finger, not just to the United States, but to the entire world. Don't go anywhere. I've got it for you next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. Harry, that's not the... Tomorrow it'll be,
Anthony Fauci has cancer.
No, tomorrow it'll be Donald Trump's approval rating takes a new dive. I don't care what his approval
Yeah, if Harry doesn't do a poll,
I don't give
on
a
this,
what his approval is. Shut up and let the man do his job, okay? I'm so over it. 241 on X. We are killing it. All right, let me tell you about Purins. I never knew that the hair follicles themselves, when our hair is dry and thin and brittle and kind of lifeless, it's screaming out to you, I need protein. Just like our bodies need protein, our hair needs protein. And so when the folks at Purins from Hydrolift gave this to me, I was like, oh my gosh, you really think I need some more body in my hair? So I started using it, and then I became a total, I don't know, fluff ball. But if this is any indication of what needing protein, and having wheat protein in a product does for you, it nourishes your hair at the follicle. And when it's nourished, it gets fatter and plumper and shinier, and you feel it, and your hair looks better. Hydrolift. That's what it's called. You can get it at purance.com. Promo code Wendy, 35% off. I want to verify that because I knew our gal was working on possibly tweaking. Let me make sure that that's what it is. Purance. There we go. Anyway, I think it's wonderful. Pure Health Research. purehealthresearch.com. That is your landing page. purehealthresearch.com, promo code Wendy. Love it. Here's the back view. I know it's ridiculous. Don't make fun of me because you love my hair. Okay. I didn't know that you had been blocked on Facebook.
Yeah.
What'd you do?
I have no idea. I know. I shared a mutual friend of ours thing about his daughter is in something for toddler of the year.
Oh, nice.
So I shared it. They blocked it and then kicked me off. And I'm like, for sharing someone else's post? And there's no way I can go in and say this is wrong.
That's how they do it. I mean, well, you know my situation.
Yeah.
I'm like this with them.
I say our situation. Because
yes.
they hacked what we worked for.
Yes. That's well said.
I'm more pissed off today than I think I have ever been.
Really?
Yeah. That fifth, knowing, I mean, I'm sure you all thought the same thing. This morning, I thought this was going to be a nothing burger because he was going to do exactly what he did, or I thought he'd go in and then leave.
Yeah, I didn't know how the senators were going to respond, but what they did is they made their case to the American people, you know? And
Listen,
when your news doesn't cover that, your news is an enemy of the people.
For all the people that have disagreed with us, and this would be my argument to any libtard out there. You don't have to hide when you tell the truth. It might not be what you want to hear, but you don't have to hide. I was being honest with you people. You might not like it, but here's the truth. To say I won't take satisfaction in giving the double bird to people, I'd be lying to you. Full transparency. Maybe she doesn't. I do. Because I don't
feel any better, but I mean,
I don't feel better.
I'll ultimately have a conversation with people, but you know what? My liberal connections, this is what they say. Well, I wouldn't know about that.
Yeah, well.
I wouldn't know about that. Well, you didn't know about the vaccine either, you dumb bitch.
Sit down. I got 2 hours to tell you how much of an idiot you are. And you are. Because guess what? You fell for this bullshit. You're going to fall for more. So here comes. Get ready.
How about Julia Roberts?
Itself.
Did you guys love Julia Roberts geeking out? She was like, I'm trying to think, who would I, because I wasn't like that with President Trump.
No.
Right? We met him and I was like, it's really neat to meet you. You know, thank you and Godspeed. But I wasn't like, I have to think, like, who would it be? But Chuck Norris already died, so I can't have that.
Yeah.
Like, who would it be?
Well, you do that with me every morning on the stream. You're like,
oh, yeah.
These people are so ridiculous. That's the sad thing.
Yes.
They're so ridiculous about it.
You're toddlers.
Over the
You're
top.
babies. You're so immature.
Over
Your
the top.
conduct is so
He's
unbecoming.
so sexy. He's an 85-year-old man. No offense to 85-year-old men. Not many sexy ones out there.
My father-in-law takes offense to that.
Well, he can't. If he takes offense to me not thinking he's sexy, sorry, Dr. Toole.
I
Enjoy golfing with you.
I think I'm just
not checking you out on the golf course.
I'm just digesting all the things that they brought up are all things that we've talked about.
Yeah.
Every single line of question, each senator got 5 minutes or whatever. So he wasn't going to answer any of the questions. So they just presented the evidence. This is what we know. This is what your diaries shared with us. So if I'm not mistaken, we start with Fauci?
Yeah.
Okay. Welcome back to the Wendy Bell radio program. 111 times Dr. Ego, Anthony Fauci, took the fifth, pleaded the fifth. I'm not going to self-incriminate. I'm going to protect myself. From what? What are you hiding from? What are you refusing to speak about? I sure hope there's not two systems of justice, because we were told how many times by Merrick Garland, there's not two systems of justice, two tiers. Well, we'll watch. I will be extraordinarily excited to see Fauci fry for what he's done. So if you've been living under a rock and you didn't know he was supposed to testify 8:30 this morning before Senate Homeland Security, he did not say anything. He had a 1-minute opening statement in which he basically said, screw off. I am science. I am more important than you. How dare you ask me your trivial little questions, as the Democrat senators continue to fawn over him. Look, if you like being lied to, if you like being given dangerous medicine, if you like losing your job and watching your children fall apart, if you're okay with the teen suicide rate going up and domestic battery abuse cases going through the roof, that's your Democratic Party, because that's who they're protecting today, either by failing to show up or failing to ask a single reasonable question. Meanwhile, on the other side of the dais, you've got the Republican Party, who has every reason to come with knives out, stabbing motions to that one twerp of a jerk who anointed himself king of the world. And the left, of course, and the media let him. And they behaved very, I would say, appropriately. There was no snarkiness. There was one F-bomb. It was necessary. Thank you, Bernie Moreno. You'll hear it. But it was very basic. This is what we know about you. This is what we have questions about. This is what we know you did. And if you listen to it, you should be as pissed as we are. Here's Fauci's opening comment. Fauci, the victim. Rand Paul is obsessed with me. That's the only reason I'm here, because he's obsessed with me. This is mean and vindictive. And because of that, I'm not going to answer your questions.
Given Senator Paul's obvious obsession with calling for my prosecution, his repeated slanderous comments about me, and recently his publicly releasing my unredacted personal diary aimed at embarrassing and intimidating me, the only conclusion I can reach is that the sole reason he is calling me before this committee is to get me to say something, anything, that could vindicate his repeated public pledges that I end up, in his words, quote, behind bars, unquote. Any reasonable person who has followed his unhinged obsession with me would readily come to the same conclusion.
Really see much at all that's unhinged about Rand Paul. He was extraordinarily measured. I didn't hear him get angry in the least. He was very matter of fact. And quite frankly, the drop of all of these details, they had to go through 11 servers to piece together these emails, because Fauci has been destroying documents for 40 freaking years. 11 different email servers. They should have called Hillary. Hillary, how did you set yours up? Was that downstairs in the closet outside the powder room? You know, remember that? Yeah, we do. Josh Hawley, senator from Missouri. He's like, wait a minute, you're going to plead the fifth then with a pardon. You realize that is not how this works at all. Listen.
Constitution.
Let's just get one thing straight. You don't have any rights under the Fifth Amendment because you've been pardoned, as you very well know. As the Supreme Court has been clear for a century and more, Brown versus Walker, 1896, when he has been pardoned, he may not stand upon his privilege. You know that. Your lawyers sitting behind you now shifting nervously in their chairs. They know it. This isn't about the Constitution. This isn't about the law. This is about contempt. Contempt for this body and contempt for the American people. But I think I know why you're doing it. It's because you don't want to answer questions. It's because you did all kinds of terrible things. It's because during the pandemic, you got rich, didn't you? You got rich while people were dying, hundreds of thousands of Americans, over 1 million in the end, and you were getting rich. And not only were you doing that, you were using federal employees with taxpayer money to apply for and solicit cash prizes for you personally. Cash prizes totaling over $1 million. You did all of that during the pandemic, didn't you? That's a question.
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
Then comes Wisconsin Senator Ron Johnson. Oh, by the way, one of those awards, ladies and gentlemen, was for $900,000. Fauci went to 8 or 9 different scientists who he held grant money awards over. Hey, it would be swell for you to say I should be nominated for this one, and for this one, and for this one, and for this one, all the while stroking himself to his personal diary like a teenage girl with a crush on himself. Beyond Ron Johnson, senator from Wisconsin, on what Fauci's decisions and edicts and emergency wand-waving garbage did to prevent actual preventive medicine, including ivermectin and hydroxychloroquine, keeping it out of the hands of people who could have survived with it. Oh boy.
So there's no evidence. There's no evidence that ivermectin is helpful. On that exact same day, and I've got the studies right here. There was a website that was tracking the random controlled studies. Here they are, showing 60, 70% efficacy of ivermectin. The same day you say there's no evidence, there was all kinds of evidence. Loved ones had to go to hospitals, had to sue hospitals. Just, would you try it? So I would want to know, to what extent were you involved in sabotaging hydroxychloroquine, ivermectin, and did you do that because you knew the only way you get an emergency use authorization for these drugs, these experimental gene therapy, was if there was no effective treatment, you couldn't get the emergency use authorization. So is that why you helped sabotage these cheap generic drugs in favor of remdesivir, which, by the way, nurses, are you aware of the fact that nurses called it run, death is near?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment.
You guys remember us talking about that? You remember us talking about ivermectin, about the FBI and the Postal Service intercepting your mail order shipments because you couldn't get it from your own freaking government because they lied to you? Because if it was proven that ivermectin could fix or prevent COVID or make your symptoms less awful and help you survive it faster, well, then that would go poof with any drug that they were going to foist upon you. And then where would all the new billionaires in the world be born? How would Fauci enrich himself? Josh Hawley comes back. This whole mess has always been about you, your ego, your wealth. You, sir, are a disgrace.
You could sit for InStyle magazine, but you can't answer questions for the American people. You could sit for InStyle magazine, but you're here taking the fifth. You could sit for InStyle magazine and get $1 million in cash awards, but now the cat's got your tongue. I bet he does. I tell you what, here's my conclusion from all of this. This was really all about you the whole time. Somewhere along the way, you lost your way. You may have been a good public servant at one time. I don't know. But I can tell you from reading your emails now, from looking at what you did, how you used your employees, somewhere along the line, it became all about you. You became a narcissist and a megalomaniac and a liar. And you've lied to the American people, and you've lied to this body. And you've disgraced your profession by doing it. You called yourself the most famous scientist in the world. You've done more to harm science than anybody in my lifetime. And I hope you'll go home and write that in your diary.
Bernie Moreno, the senator from Ohio, jumps in. He's like, you're pleading the fifth. Do you even know what that means? Do you have any idea where that came from? Fauci didn't.
Fifth Amendment of the Constitution. What does the Fifth Amendment of the Constitution say?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment of the Constitution.
No, I'm just asking you what it says.
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
I'm going to give the Constitution to my aide. He'll bring it over to you so you can have it for future reference. I think it's something that every American should know what the Constitution says. Do you know who wrote the Fifth Amendment?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment of the Constitution.
So you're invoking a right that you don't know who wrote it or what it says. Is that correct?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
Wow.
It's about the time that Bernie Moreno lost his mind in a very respectable way. He talks about it was COVID. It was the ridiculous response to COVID. It was all things wrong about the coronavirus and your leadership, Dr. Fauci, that had me shift my life permanently forever, sell my businesses, become a senator so I can say this one thing to you.
It was about 6 years ago today that I decided I'm going to give up my businesses, sell them all, run for office, run for the United States Senate. Here I am sitting in front of you 6 years later saying, who the do you think you were for doing that? It is a total disgrace what you did to this country. And if my Democrat colleagues are standing there defending you, I hope the voters of the United States of America watch the clips of every one of you doting on a guy who was more interested in being a celebrity than saving American people. I will make it my mission to make certain that every single one of those Democrats who did that will see that clip over and over and over again. Because there is no defense of what you did. You may have had a 50-plus year legacy of public service, but it ends in total and complete disgrace.
Bingo. Disgrace. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, I want to talk about something Catherine Herridge posted while Fauci was refusing to answer questions. The media darling being very media mom, as meanwhile the Fauci media blackout continues. Next on the Wendy Bell radio network. There's so many things to say there. It's hard to know where to begin, you know. I have such I have had to compartmentalize my loathing of that man.
I have.
Yeah, I've buried him quite a bit. His wife, by the way. I don't know. What's up with Democrat dudes marrying some really ugly chicks?
It looked like
Chuck
dudes.
Schumer's wife looks like a freaking linebacker from the 1940s. And whatever the hell is going on with Fauci's wife, who is the head of ethics. What's the head of ethics at the NIH? I mean, where's your Acme frying pan? Boing, boing, boing.
I don't know if we have the sound. I don't think we took the sound bite, but one of the guys went after him about his attorney. His attorneys. He's like, he defended Bob Menendez. That's who you went and got.
Yeah, he's a sleaze bag.
Yeah.
You got a sleaze bag guy.
You have to be a sleaze bag. Who would take him as a client? I'd be like, you know what? This is why people have a bad taste in their mouth about attorneys. I get it. Everyone's allowed to have their defense.
Too many lawyers in a world.
But like, you tell me, and all the Democrats, I said this to Wendy this morning, all these Democrats, you've had a 50-year career, blah, blah, blah. It's not this great. Pete Rose has more hits than anyone else and couldn't even get into the Hall of Fame. Don't tell me about careers. And all he did was gamble on himself.
I want to tell you, if you have swollen legs, if your legs feel heavy at the end of the day, if they feel thick, like you're dragging around extra weight, if you take off your socks, particularly if you're not wearing ankle socks, but maybe the ones that are like 3/4 high, and you roll them down and take them off, and you've got that ridge around your calf, and it's almost like swollen and tender to the touch, you might be a candidate for what I think is a very interesting supplement, and it's called lymph system support. So a lot of people think that feeling is just part of getting older. Maybe you've put on a few pounds, you kind of chalk it up to that. Literally, it could be your lymph system screaming at you. Your lymph system is like your body's internal drainage network, right? So it flushes out excess fluid, some fats, the waste out of your tissues. It's a super important part of who we are and what we do. And when the lymphatic system slows down, fluid can build up, hence what you feel in your legs. It's like gravity. It all goes down to the bottom, which is why it's in your lower legs and feels like that. It can build up, especially in your legs, ankles, and feet. And that's where this comes in because it drains it. Pure Health Research, lymph system support. It's a powerful formula, 8 science-backed ingredients, including bromelain from pineapple, dandelion extract, things that are in nature, not from freaking Pfizer. That's why I love these sponsors. Go to purehealthresearch.com. Use the code Wendy. Get 35% off. purehealthresearch.com, code Wendy, 35% off. I think it's important, especially after I saw Joe. It's like, I think we need to talk. Right? I think we need to talk, babe. Try this. All right. I'm all discombobulated today. I should be angrier than I am at Dr. Fauci, but I've kind of written him off. I don't think he has the power to piss me off anymore. Like,
I'll be angry for you.
is that right?
Yeah.
You're angry at other reasons, though.
No, I'm angry. Yeah.
Yeah. She's up there as a national treasure. Welcome back to the Wendy Bell radio program. She's one of those to follow, to believe, to trust. I say that with, one hand. I can name a number of people I trust. So this is what she writes during this whole Fauci failed to testify about anything experience. Fauci pardon, not bulletproof. So this is what Catherine writes. On the pardon, before the hearing, Senator Rand Paul, and she puts him as a hyperlink so he sees this. Before the hearing, a former senior Justice Department prosecutor told her that there are 3 viable legal strategies to challenge the preemptive Biden pardon. But there is no easy path with any of these. So we'll have to see which one happens and how it goes. One strategy calls for charging Fauci with a crime, with the expectation that he would file a motion with the court to dismiss based on his pardon. Now, this could open the door to challenging this sweeping pardon's viability. Could also lead to years of litigation because nothing happens fast. Another strategy, Catherine writes, involves Congress. Because Fauci has theoretically been preemptively pardoned against past and future criminal charges related to his NIH work, it could be argued that Fauci has no plausible claim to the Fifth Amendment, the right against self-incrimination. If Fauci takes the fifth at Senator Paul's hearing, which he has, the committee could seek to compel Fauci's testimony. A finding of contempt could follow, and that's actually what's going to happen. They're apparently going to have a vote, a contempt vote, this coming week or next week in the Senate in this particular Homeland Security Committee. Now, finally, one of Fauci's closest associates. Now, this is very interesting. This is called the stop, drop, and roll strategy, right? And this is what they've done. One of Fauci's closest associates has been criminally charged here with pressure and the right incentives. He might be flipped, and he could become a cooperating witness. Dr. David Morens. He was the senior advisor to Fauci at the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases. He was indicted on multiple charges, including conspiracy and obstruction, including the destruction, alteration, or falsification of federal records. Now, along with allegations that personal email accounts were used to evade the Freedom of Information Act, this could be a very powerful motivator. From media reports, Dr. Morens has pled not guilty to all of the federal criminal counts. And apparently Rick Scott, during this hearing today, raised the Dr. Morens case. Fauci continues to take the fifth. So she's on it. What else is going on this? This is something that's interesting. You guys remember, this is just to piss Brock off a little bit more. Brock, I'm sorry. New York Post headline. Anthony Fauci enlisted Obama and media friends to beat back Beaglegate allegations. This was in his diary. So this is what it says. Former NIAID Director Dr. Anthony Fauci enlisted the help of, quote, media friends and former President Barack Obama to beat back allegations in 2021 that we shared with you on this program that his agency funded painful experiments on beagle puppies who were later euthanized, according to records recently released by Rand Paul. The diary entries that Fauci made in that year about the so-called Beaglegate scandal show he used his allies in the media and in politics to respond to attacks over the NIAID-funded study, despite publicly denying that his agency ever approved the dog experiments at the time. This is what he did. He said something in public and he told the truth to his dear little diary. It is so very clear now that this is a concerted effort to discredit me and assassinate my character, Fauci wrote in an October 26, 2021 entry. We have counted the attacks regarding the beagle dog experiments, but still the attacks continue falsely claiming that NIAID funded the studies, which they did. The newly released diary entries, this is why I alluded to in the last segment, the newly released diary entries dug up by the Trump administration from 11 separate government servers, according to HHS Secretary Bobby Kennedy, revealed the extent to which Fauci relied on high-powered allies to protect his image. White Coat Waste Project, a bipartisan group founded by a GOP strategist, first exposed the Beaglegate scandal that took up significant space in Fauci's personal notes. Well, NIAID apparently approved $375,000 to force the... Yeah, I don't need to go through it with you guys again. You remember what it was. Yeah. Reason 11 billion. I hate Tony Fauci. When we come back, I've got a great supercut as the media fawned over Tony Fauci, as we talk about this crazy cult that thank God you're not part of, next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. It's, yeah.
You know why you hate Tony Fauci? Because it's something we can all agree on. Old people, animals, kids. Who did Tony Fauci manipulate and who paid the ultimate price? Kids that can't read because you have to learn. You learn from watching people's mouth when they read or they talk to you. Kids can't read a room now because they've never been in a room with people. Old people who died alone because Anthony Fauci said they might get COVID. Well, they're 90 years old, for Christ's sake.
They can die because it's Tuesday afternoon.
Exactly. And animals, I'm telling you, I want them put in a cone of shame and done exactly what he did to the beagles.
So take out his vocal cords so we can't hear him scream.
No, I want to hear him scream.
Oh.
Yeah. I'm to the point
You need
now.
you have no F's to give.
With him?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no. You watch people, you ripped families apart. You caused families not to talk. You caused the
It absolutely
we're a dumb country already, and you dumbed down the American kids even more. You went after old people, you went after pets. Yeah, this guy needs, you know what? Jail would be too good. He'd get 3 squares.
Can't say I disagree. I want to tell you guys, this is a note that I get from, his name is Tim Cooper, and he with our friend Tom Yakupin do this Health Revolution health insurance, where it's you create your own health insurance policy. How does that sound? Rather than having to squeeze into one or pay more for another just because it has parts of the coverage that you need. How about you just sit down with somebody from Health Revolution and just be like, this is what I need. How much does that cost? And then find out, oh my gosh, 30 to 60% savings on your premium. What? And there aren't any copays to go see doctors? What? And then you get to choose your doctors and go see those doctors? Yeah, that's it. But Tim sent me something else about info.healthrevolution.net, 800-868-6187.
I'm good.
I get you. Wendy, here you go. 2026 enrollments in the Affordable Care Act marketplace, the Obamacare marketplace, decreased by nearly 3 million, which will be a driver for increased premiums for 2027. So 3 million people bailed on the Affordable Care Act marketplace because it sucks. That saddles everybody who's left with fewer people covering more stuff. And so what happens? Your premiums go up, of course. Then we know that Cigna is dumping it. Cigna Insurance Company is exiting the marketplace in 2027. That's going to be huge. Affordable Care Act marketplace carriers have announced an average increase of 14% raising of your premium on top of already outrageously high premiums for this year. Why? Why haven't you gotten in touch with our friends? 800-868-6187. Don't say it doesn't work for you until you try it. info.healthrevolution.net. Judging from my son, Michael, I think you're going to be very pleased by what you experience. And it's you getting what you want instead you getting forced into something that you don't need. There's a difference. You know, I can blame Dr. Fauci and all of this for the lack of relationship I have with my sister. Truly believe that. Truly believe that. I didn't drink the Kool-Aid. She did. I don't know. I don't know how you can be raised by the same people in the same background and end up so freakingly different, but we did. And
Here's another
And I'd love to
thing.
say, how are your 8 boosters going for you? How's that going for you?
Democrats want to tell you about healthcare and how Donald Trump's destroying healthcare. Tony Fauci destroyed healthcare. He destroyed it.
But now he says he's the victim. That's a very special size of narcissist. What a dick.
Well, how about...
Sorry, Harley.
She shouldn't be listening today. The smugness that he sat there when he wasn't being lambasted, right? Like before, when there was no problems, he was science. Senator Paul, you do not know what you're talking about. And he released my diary.
Unredacted.
Dude, what dude has a diary? What?
Somebody who is blowhardy.
Especially that age.
Yeah, it's
maybe kids today, they have diaries. I don't know. I'm judging, but not judging.
You're judging. It's
But
okay to judge.
you have Mitch McConnell who doesn't want to talk about his health. And then you have, well, probably because he can't. And then you have Anthony Fauci, who you could see him laying on his bed at night, writing in his diary. Julia Roberts loved me. I'm sorry, if you're over the age of 30, 20, and you're a dude and you have a diary,
You're gay. Just shut up. Just go away. It's okay. You can be gay.
Yeah.
But you're gay. It's all right.
And even tell your psychiatrist, no, my man, I might be crazy, but I ain't writing in no diary. I'll judge you. I'm judging you. Not silently either. I'm judging you. If you're a dude with a diary, consider yourself judged.
You don't want to write down all the wonderful things that I say every day?
Dude with a diary
equals.
I just have one. Light in the loafers is what I'm saying. Hey, I don't write in a diary.
You know what? We have gay people who watch this show, Brock. Yeah, but you're not liberals.
And they probably don't write in a diary.
It's not a gay thing. It's a gay thing. It's gay. It's not like homosexual. It's just so gay. Like, enough. It's so ridiculous. It's toddler time. I'm so over it. Ah! Other than that, everything's great.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Wendy Bell, America's anchor mom, fighting for America 1 hour at a time. Welcome to the family.
The vaccine prevents you from getting infected.
Now we know that the vaccines work well enough that the virus stops with every vaccinated person.
If you get vaccinated, you are protected.
Dr. Fauci says he has COVID again for the second time in 2 weeks.
The Department of Justice has dished out a shocking indictment accusing a former senior advisor to Dr. Anthony Fauci for allegedly concealing records amid probes into the origins of the COVID-19 pandemic.
Moving government conversations related to the COVID-19 pandemic to his private Gmail account to avoid public disclosure, plus skirt the Freedom of Information Act from those seeking answers about gain-of-function research.
Sit on this for a second enough to absorb what this means.
Tell me lies, tell me sweet little lies. 3 hours of bold truth and excellence. You've just signed up for the WBR Army. Strap in. This is the Wendy Bell radio program.
You know, it's not enough to say, don't ever forget what they did to you. It's a whole different ball game to go back and to listen to how ridiculous they lied to us. Welcome back to the Wendy Bell radio program. Look, I'm a very simple person. A lot of people think women are complicated. We could be crazy. I'll say that. I get that. I know that. I admit that, but I'm simple. It doesn't take a whole lot. Be honest. Be a good person. I mean, really, that's about it. And you don't get that, and you haven't gotten that for years. I want you to see this and listen to this Tom Elliott supercut from Grabian. It's basically the media for the last umpteen number of years, never once thinking critically, but fawning over an American monster.
The single most respected voice in the pandemic. It's Dr. Anthony Fauci.
The man who's become known as America's doctor.
The nation's top infectious disease expert, Anthony Fauci.
You are seen to many as a superhero.
Dr. Anthony Fauci, American hero and New York Yankee fan.
You've done so much for this country in terms of this crisis, so I really appreciate your insight.
Who better to give us answers that we can trust than Dr. Anthony Fauci?
The perfect person to answer our questions today. Joining us now, Dr. Anthony Fauci.
Dr. Anthony Fauci, appreciate your candor.
Dr. Fauci,
appreciate the candor.
We appreciate your service to this country.
We appreciate your service.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you for your service.
Greatly appreciate your service to America.
Thank you for your 37 years of service, I believe, to 7 presidents, and thank you for your work over the past year.
The great news is you're sticking around in the Biden administration. We are so grateful to you, Dr. Fauci, for everything you do.
Thank you so much for everything you do.
Thank you very much for everything that you do.
Thanks so much for the work that you do.
Thank you very much for the reassurance and, as always, for all of your public service. Thank you, Dr. Fauci.
Thank you for all your guidance this past year, and it's greatly appreciated.
Dr. Fauci, on behalf of all of our viewers here in the U.S. and around the world, thanks very much for doing what you're doing. Thanks very much for joining us. Please thank your entire team as well. We are all grateful.
Get your rest because we need you.
You are one of the busiest scientists in the country right now. It is an honor to have some of your time to help us understand what is going on. I know a lot of people have a lot of questions, so we appreciate your time, sir.
We need people to continue to have faith in science. So thank you for your time, sir.
Thank you for being straight with us. Thank you for being able to come on. You will always have this show as a platform.
Sir, whenever you can be here, we'll have you. It's always an honor to have time with you. Thanks for being here.
It's good enough for you, sir. It's good enough for me and my family. So thank you, Dr. Fauci.
Dr. Fauci, thank you for keeping it straight. Thank you for fighting the good fight.
I am sincerely appreciative that you are not walking away from this post. You make us smarter and safer and better every day. Thank you so much, Dr. Fauci.
Oh, dear.
Oh, dear is right. What a dirtbag. Who's worse? You know, with all of the missing scientists, why couldn't have he been one of them? I mean, like, why didn't anybody want to abduct him? Brian Stelter back in 2021,
This
by the
dude
way.
absolutely has a diary.
This
Brian Stelter.
absolutely has one. I would say so. You will never, ever look at that little tard again and say anything to yourself other than, what a shame. Listen.
In one America, Dr. Anthony Fauci is trusted and even immortalized. In the other America, though, he is tarnished and distrusted. Don't believe me? Take a look.
The Fauci era is officially over.
Right-wing TV has cast Dr. Anthony Fauci in the role of villain.
Grouchy Fauci.
Dr. Doom and Gloom, Dr. Flip-Flop Fauci.
GOP lawmakers are echoing the attacks, showing the feedback loop in full effect.
An activist scientist, an arm of the China's propaganda machine.
It's as if President Biden is a weak target of the anti-Democrat media. So they are assailing Fauci instead.
Dr. Fauci has been more politician than physician.
Fauci's voter registration shows he is affiliated with no party. He's worked for Democratic and Republican presidents, but now he's become a Republican boogeyman. His emails are a new excuse. Sean Hannity claiming that Fauci said one thing about the lab leak theory in public and another in private.
These emails provide growing evidence. Fauci was warned, and Fauci repeatedly, consciously downplayed it repeatedly.
Routine emails portrayed as scandalous. Where have we seen this trick before? Ah, yes, Axios calling Fauci Trump's new Hillary Clinton.
Brian, how you doing today, dude? Because everything you just said was proven to be false. And there's more he tries to downplay. Again, this is older. Fauci's emails, only one of which, of course, suggested a lab leak. Let's listen.
A Freedom of Information Act request revealed Fauci's emails from March and April 2020. And one email out of thousands showed that an executive with ties to China's Wuhan Institute of Virology thanked Fauci for saying science supports a natural origin of the virus. The origin is still being probed by Biden's administration, and Fauci is saying that bad faith actors are taking his words way out of context.
You can misconstrue it however you want. I said that I think the most likely origin is a jumping of species. I still do think it is, at the same time as I'm keeping an open mind that it might be a lab leak.
Keeping an open mind. What an original concept. These GOP lawmakers' minds are made up as they call for Fauci's resignation, thereby providing more content for GOP TV.
Your job. I think he should be fired.
He should go. Dr. Fauci has blood on his hands.
But Fauci is not taking it all in silence. Fauci asserting that the hits against him are attacks on science.
Because all of the things that I have spoken about
consistently from the very beginning have been fundamentally based on science. Sometimes those things were inconvenient truths for people, and there was pushback against me.
But wait a minute. We're not done yet. There's Chris Cuomo. Oh, Chris, as he did Fauci's bidding to destroy the reputation of a good guy, Dr. Brian Atlas, who encouraged Americans to rise up against ridiculous mandates that did nothing to promote public health. Yeah, Chris knows better. Oh, Chris.
Dr. Atlas, okay, a guy with no pandemic experience. He literally would know more if he stayed at a Holiday Inn Express last night. He's saying, hey, you in Michigan, these measures to help try to control the spread, fight back. Are you kidding me? Shame on you. What kind of doctor would tell people to rise up and resist the only kind of prophylaxis that can help them? What the hell is the matter with this person? Rise up. You rise up and do your job or get the hell out. How could you give this kind of advice? Of course, Fauci was being measured. He says, I don't agree with his position. This isn't Fauci's fight. The science is obvious. This is about Trump and the Trumpers. He's going to have his main health guy stand up and say, fight back against the regulations to keep you safe. Listen to him. I'm not making it up.
And this kind of isolation is one of the unspoken tragedies of the elderly, who are now being told, don't see your family at Thanksgiving. For many people, this is their final Thanksgiving, believe it or not. What are we doing here?
What the hell are you doing here? Yeah, it could be their last Thanksgiving. If you expose them to people who aren't wearing masks, who aren't socially distancing, and haven't been doing so, and haven't gotten tested, because they somehow think they don't want to get in on the con of COVID.
Taking? Isn't it? You always knew that they sucked, but you forgot the granular data. And now you're being reminded 5 years later. Oh, Fredo. And then our personal favorite, because we can. There was nothing like the derangement of a masked guy singing songs to Tony Fauci.
Dr. Fauci, give us vaccines, help all the people who have been quarantined. We'll wear our masks and we'll have to stay distant. We'll wash our hands and we'll be more resistant. Fauci, yes? Promise us, please. We'll have a cure that can fight off this disease. Restrictions will lift with some ease. Dr. Fauci, don't forget me.
It was about that time that you began to realize that something weird was happening in this country, and you wanted nothing to do with it. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, today, common sense conservatives, truth tellers, podcasters, independent thinkers, truth seekers, vindicated. All of the people on the left. Man, I pity you. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, the fake news shuts down a conservative truth teller on live TV. You got to hear how in the toilet America's trust in TV news and newspapers is next.
See? You see? That guy writes in a diary.
Yeah, I could see it.
Dear diary, I wrote this song.
It's so flashy. I love it. What do you think?
I think I should go for American Idol.
Magic
like
8 Ball. Am I all that? Outlook good. Thank you. Thank you. Magic 8 Ball. Okay, so there is something that's very special when you need like super relief. If you have a part of your body that's extraordinarily calloused or super dry, I don't know how you guys feel, but in the wintertime, and I know this happens to Joe because he's a doctor and he washes his hands probably, I don't know, conservatively 50 to 100 times a day. And when you're constantly doing that and not moisturizing, he gets cracks in his fingers and his knuckles bleed, and it's terrible. And his cuticles get awful. The smallest bit of this, it's called the Satin Balm. And this is from Tulip Blooms, tulipblooms.shop/Wendy. First of all, it smells so pleasant. All of their fragrances, these essential oils, these botanicals, these very special fragrance profiles that they make and create for their products. Each one is good for men or women. It doesn't leave you heavily perfumed. It's not greasy, but you just take a little bit of this. You don't even need to take much and just rub it in your hands and it kind of liquefies. And then you just put it, if it's your elbow, if it's your heel, maybe you have a callus on one of your toes or what have you. This Satin Balm by Tulip Blooms is like focused hydration where you need it. And it smells so good. One of many products you can get with 10% off using my name. tulipblooms.shop/Wendy. That /Wendy gives you that 10% off. I love their products. I've yet to find one I haven't liked. And I don't think Brock smelled it. I didn't like get too close to like, hey, you smell my perfume. But Tulip Bloom sent me a fragrance that they think is me. And I have to admit, so I'll share it with Brock. I'll give you the tube and you can smell it and see what you think. I think it smells so good.
They need to make me a scent. Called Brock's Diary. They said.
Is it just you being pissed?
Cigar smoke, wood chips,
beef?
Yeah, beef. Maybe
some grass.
Maybe a little oil or motor oil behind the ear.
It's all good. That's all good.
That's
special.
Specimen of a non-gendered, non-binary thing that wrote a song about Anthony Fauci.
It's unfortunate.
Is the problem with the left. You can't sit there and say MAGA is a cult when you have things out there like that. That's where I would bet that whatever it was is at best asexual. He doesn't look at men or women. It doesn't look, they, them don't look at men or women. But I guarantee he looks in his diary every night. Dear diary, I sang a song at school today. And then he bowed. You guys saw it. Probably not the first time he was in that position.
Oh my God.
I'm angry today.
I know. Smells good in here, though. There's my bow. Welcome back to the Wendy Bell radio program. How is it, and this is your family the same as mine, how is it that you can have people born from the same parents, raised the same way, who are so completely opposed on things such as COVID? The people in my life who were freaked out over COVID are far leftists. They were unreasonably rule following. They became legitimate Gestapo. If you didn't sanitize, if you stood too close, if you didn't have your mask, if you didn't do this or that. And I looked at them and I was like, I don't know what happened to you. I'm sorry it did, because you're really unenjoyable to be around. Where's your thought process? Where's your critical thinking? Where's that big, beautiful brain that Ivy League school gave a degree to? What happened to you? Because you're a sheep. You are a petri dish scientific experiment, and you're failing. How do you not feel it, see it, know it, suspect it, have even a hint that you're being played? How is that possible? What happened to you? Where did it happen to you? When? When was that? Because I don't recognize you. I have pure disdain for the mainstream media, for many, many things. But for what they pushed, the lies they've pushed, the truth they covered up, the common sense they never had, and the daily drip of garbage propaganda is so offensive to me. And then for me to be punished for daring to think on my own like you did, I'll never forget. I want you to listen to this. I want you to hear the pile-on. So the New York Post has a cute little columnist. She's very bright. She appears on CNN's Newsnight or whatever the hell it is with Abby Phillip, who always interrupts her conservative guests. And this is one of those situations. Lydia Moynihan from the New York Post is making the analogy about obfuscation. She's talking about how the media failed to cover this Fauci diary that had so many damning, entries about his self-praise and his darkness and decisions, and equating that obfuscation to that the Trump administration, the panel is alleging, is covering up basically any talk of how this war in Iran has affected U.S. service members. So that's the argument she's trying to make about obfuscation. Listen to the pile-on. All of the panelists, all of them are Democrat. Absolutely dunk her and drown her out.
I think we need to have transparency around what's going on. I think one situation that, frankly, where we saw the government was certainly obfuscating, didn't have any transparency, was Anthony Fauci, who we're getting his diaries today, where he was purposely obfuscating about
Anthony
Fauci. That's actually something where we know he was purposely obfuscating.
We're sitting here talking about Americans who were killed in theater, okay, as a result of a war. We are not going to pivot to Anthony Fauci's diaries. That's a different conversation.
You're saying that this is a purposeful obfuscation. We don't know that it was a purposeful obfuscation.
That we learned this weekend.
It was.
But you love the sanctimonious finger wagging of that woman, Abby Phillip, who's just a moron. Isn't that just breathtaking? Don't have your own view. We will pile on you the way they did when you spoke up about COVID. It's the same thing. It's still going on because that's how the left operates. They can't listen to your point. They can't have an argument with you, or at least a conversation. They have to attack. Or if they don't attack, they have to say, this isn't even worth it for me to do this. And then they drop it and they walk away from you because they're not equipped to handle the argument. It's very telltale. How about this? Is this why maybe Americans don't trust what they see on the news or read in newspapers? It's interesting. Newsbusters.org, America's confidence in TV news and newspapers remains rock bottom, according to a new national survey conducted 25 and 27 of July, so earlier this week. Just 5%, or 1 in 20 Americans, has a great deal of confidence in newspapers. 1 in 20. 5%. Yep, I read the newspaper. Yep. Love it. When it comes to television news, the level of confidence is even lower. Only 5% said they have a great deal of trust in what they're being told on the news. But nearly half of the respondents, 47%, say they basically have none. Of course, once again, Democrats are more positive than independents and Republicans, which has me asking, what happened to you Democrats? What did they give you? Did they give you some Johnstown drug? Did they make some Kool-Aid when they put a couple quarters in your pocket so after Hale Bob came to grab you, you could make that phone call on the other end of the ride? Are you falling for all of this? Because we're watching you absolutely incredulous. Now, I want to move and I want to post a picture of Tony Fauci's legacy. I saw it on X today, and I'm going to describe it to you. I'm going to show it to you in the stream, and we're going to talk about it, and it's heavy next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. Healthy Cell. I will tell you, last night I went to bed early Joe got home. It was Taco Tuesday, so we grabbed Jack somewhere. We took him to a place for some tacos and some margaritas, and I had a margarita but was tired. Joe was tired. Literally, he falls asleep on the couch at 8. So I'm nudging him, and I'm like, hey, hottie, let's go to bed. And I took a REM sleep. And by 8:30, I was ready to go. I was ready to wash because you can feel it. You settle into this very nice, comfortable zone when you take a REM sleep from healthycell.com/Wendy. And in 30 minutes to 45 minutes, just everything sort of just feels more comfortable. You just feel relaxed. You feel calm, like you could climb into bed and just shut off your mind. And then you go to sleep and you sleep like a rock. And if you have to wake up, fine, you fall right back to sleep, I find. And the beautiful part about REM sleep, the sleep formula from healthycell.com/Wendy, is that no matter how much sleep you get, you wake up feeling good. I slept longer than normal. I slept almost until 3:40 this morning. So I slept a long time, but I didn't wake up feeling exhausted. That's the key. That's what's clutch. That's what I love about Healthy Cell. And there's a formula there in a gel pack for you that's easily more digested and more absorbed than typical pills or capsules and supplements. Check them out. 20% off your first order, healthycell.com/Wendy. You know, I like the Healthy Cell focus and recall, calm mood, also REM sleep. Love, love, love them. 1 in 20 has confidence in the newspapers. We're not reading.
Who's the one?
We're not reading. Nobody wants to see what you're saying. We
Stockholder?
don't need more garbage in our lives. 1.8. You guys, I'm dying here. And that means our comments are probably poopy. 349. That's pretty good.
All right.
That's pretty good.
If you hate Fauci, hit the thumbs up button. And hit the damn follow button. Who wants clutter on their page? Once you hit that follow button, it goes away. So just hit it.
So tell me what's the likely next step here? So they're gonna vote for contempt of Congress. They'll probably get it. And then what?
Apparently, here's a comment. It's not your basic bitch. It's an 85-year-old with a diary. I wonder if his diary is pink with a key. Apparently, it doesn't have a key because Rand Paul got it and we all got to see it.
Well, the diary comes from 11 servers, government servers and whatnot. Yeah, I'm not so sure it's necessarily just
He could have called it a journal. It's the same thing, but it sounds less
gay,
childish.
I mean,
they're all about semantics.
That's true. All right, GLP-1 Gold. You know what? I got a response. I got a really nice comment here. Of course, I lose it whenever I do that. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to get it.
All right. Well, guess what, Ray Carr? You're getting called out. Brooke caught me. I've never missed the like button before. Well, Ray Carr, consider yourself noted that you missed it today.
All right, let me find this. GLP. Of course not. Hey, Wendy, I've been following you since your kitchen days. She says, she's asking a question. She says, I've been taking Blood Flow 7 for 2 months. I started the GLP-1 Gold a month ago. This one, I love them both. I have more energy and I don't have the food cravings. I want you to know. So last night I could tell after being on GLP-1 Gold, again, this is not a drug. This isn't some GLP medication. We're not putting pharmaceutical products into your bloodstream. This is something that's a natural, a dietary supplement that's a tremendous assist if you have dramatic weight to lose. And it's made by our friends at Juvenon. You can get it by going to bloodflow7.com/Wendy. So I noticed last night We ate early. It would have been prime time for me to snack well into the evening hours, and I had no cravings.
Well, you ate all your Skittles.
I had no cravings, and so I'm also going to start taking it in the afternoon, thinking that it'll digest through my system, and by the time I'm starving for something at night, just craving it, hopefully this is going to knock it off. Bloodflow7.com/Wendy, 30% off GLP-1 Gold. This is their big weight loss product, and so I'm going to take it too.
I thought of you last night.
Mm-hmm.
I went to a Mediterranean restaurant.
Oh, neat.
And had salmon, which I never order fish.
I love salmon.
But
you have parasites?
This morning, I cleansed. But it was like this Dijon salmon.
Mm-hmm.
I ate the whole thing. And a piece of fish was like this big.
That's awesome.
Jack
wants to make halibut tonight after I made walleye.
I wouldn't know.
Why does me saying that, Jack, why would you know? Did he call you and tell you he's going to tell me he wanted to have halibut?
No.
You weren't in the room when he said,
I mean,
I didn't say we were making it. He merely made a comment that he wanted to have halibut. And then you said I wouldn't know. A story or a moment during COVID, that was the Acme frying pan. Whether it was something you were not allowed to do anymore, which is totally shocking. It's stunning in a free society to be told, nope, that thing that you always did, not allowed to do it anymore. Can't do it. Mine was not being able to go to the funeral of somebody I cared about. Because the only people allowed inside the church were the priest and the family of the woman who died. No grievers, no neighbors, no friends. That's not how anybody wants to be remembered, alone. Whatever it was for you, I think the beginning that really got me ticked was when Brock and I had to do a story at one of the stations we were on about a man who had rented a cherry picker, right? One of those crane things to lift him up to the third floor of the nursing facility where his mom was because he wasn't allowed to go see her. Tony Fauci and his garbage rules aren't responsible for that because people had to make decisions that were crazy. But he set the table. And there were a million ways he could have served up something that was so much more reasonable. But because he was so enthralled with himself, his ego, his stature, he was in love with the idea of being a celebrity, which when you look at a once-in-a-lifetime global pandemic is the time that that's your moment to shine. It's pathological, it's sinister, it's dark, he's a monster. I don't say that lightly. That's not a joke. But I want to put up on the screen and describe to you who are watching what this is. It's a picture outside of a window. You can see the reflection of leaves from the tree outside. It's looking up inside a medical facility's window where two people, ostensibly nurses, are wearing blue surgical gloves, yellow surgical gowns. They've got the masks on, the shield in front, the surgical hats on. And one is holding a picture that says, a sign, handwritten, that says, he is at peace. And the other has a sign up that says, we are so sorry. That picture to somebody on the outside who was feet away from being by the person they love when they died. And they weren't allowed to. What I wasn't expecting when I saw that, ex-user named Dustin Grage posted it. And he said, this is Anthony Fauci's legacy. Never forget. Basically, being locked out of one of the most intimate and life-changing moments you can have. I've never been next to somebody who died. I've never held somebody's hand or watched them take their last breath. I had to walk away from my mom because the doctor said we don't know how long she's going to hold on when we finally stopped preserving her life. I've never been there. These people weren't allowed to be there. For their parents, for their spouses, for their children. We were locked out. We were shut down. I don't know if there are words for that. Because in that moment, it's so much bigger than the reality of what's going on. You begin to see how dark it is, how it doesn't make any sense whatsoever, and why some people just fell for it hook, line, and sinker. We had to go and beg for emergency injunctions for judges to hear our cases. Please try ivermectin. Try hydroxychloroquine. Try anything. No, I don't want my loved one on a ventilator. No, I don't want them to be one of your guinea pigs. No, I don't want to be shuttled out of the room. And no, I don't want to be outside this window. Looking at my mom's face for the last time. And there was one other clip from that man and the cherry picker. And it's over his shoulder as he's got his hands up to the window of the third floor looking in at his mom, who looks so scared. We lost the common sense of basic human compassion. And a lot of you, like me, saw it every single step of the way. And it hurts. It makes you question who people are. What happened to you? Who got to you? What happened? What snapped inside of you? This isn't how we live our lives. But they wanted us to. The responses to this one picture that I described through the window, the number of people who replied to this Dustin Grage and what they said, there's images, the comments are just absolutely heartbreaking. Here's one by somebody whose Twitter handle is Esk. I stood outside and basically watched my grandmother die through a window. Yet I could waltz right in after she died to say goodbye. I'll never forget what they did. I still have the note my kids made to put on the window. And it says, it's got a big heart. And it says, "We love you, Graham." Fauci should be in prison for life at the very least, this person writes. Right? Then there's a picture somebody shared of literally, it looks like one of those armed FBI agent guys who went to shake down Mark Houck, right, during Biden's term. It was like dragged him away from his family because he was his sidewalk abortion protester. And it's a guy wearing full black. It looks like he's going to go to war or he's going to go snipe somebody. And he's there with his gun. It looks like an AR or an AK. And he's interrogating a woman who's sitting on the beach next to her 2 little daughters. Like, what? What did you do? And then this person puts, "We won't forget," with a headline, "Over 1,000 health professionals sign a letter saying don't shut down protests, using coronavirus concerns as an excuse." Here's this guy, MAGA Elvis. He shares a screen grab of, when you do a FaceTime with somebody. And so they're prominent and you're like the little box in the corner. And this guy whose handle is MAGA Elvis wrote, "Yeah, watched my father die on FaceTime." Literally. And it's his father who's got a mask on, not a mask, but like an oxygen mask. "I watched my father die on FaceTime. I was forced to say goodbye to my mother over Zoom." Zoom, says this man, Joe Youngblood. "The hospital said I couldn't visit her in her final moments. I would have crossed a galaxy to be by her side, and they refused to let me. I don't know which side is right in the debate, and I don't care. If we lose our humanity, we are already lost and dead anyways." This person writes, "My father died in December 2020, locked up in a Southern California hospital. We had to say goodbye via Zoom call. I will never forget. It's personal. My grandmother spent her last birthday in the nursing home with family members singing happy birthday to her through the window. She got COVID in the nursing home thanks to Pennsylvania Governor Wolf putting the COVID patients in with the long-term residents. She was 97. And then this person, whose handle is Balzar. "Dear Anthony Stephen Fauci, may God damn your soul to hell. Sincerely, all of humanity." The thing about today's hearing and Fauci's refusal to answer any questions, because he can't. He can't answer honestly. He's been lying for decades. He just got caught. What happens when the next actual emergency happens? Like, who are you going to listen to? Who are you going to believe? What doctor is going to come up to you that convinces you that you should trust again? They did that. It's not just the deaths. It's not just the businesses that were destroyed. It's not just the children who were set back years, who don't even understand how to read facial expressions because they spent their early formative years behind a freaking mask. The question is, how are we ever going to believe or trust anything again? I don't know. I don't know. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, we got a little Jesse Waters for you on deck. You know, he's doing what should have been a serious, sober time of public health policy. Fauci was keeping the news going, the dour news going, so his time in the spotlight could continue. Next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network.
Not in even the same category, but of putting or having a loved one die. I had to put a dog down during COVID. And, you know, go to Dr. Mike's and they weren't, you would bring your dog and then they would take the dog in. Like, they had to play by the same stupid rules as everybody else. And I called him and said, ain't no, he's like, doors open. Went through the back door. There was no way you were going to let me. There was no way I was going to let my dog.
I'm not handing you my dog.
Yeah.
I'm not having you be the one who's there last.
Yeah, I'm not.
No.
I wouldn't.
I will live with that for the rest of my life, something I never want to experience, ever. But your dog deserves that last moment.
My point being that everyone deserves that last moment if you want it. Now, being... you don't necessarily want to be there. You don't necessarily want to see someone take their last breath. It's very... puts an imprint on the rest of your life seeing that. But you want the opportunity. And that's what he took. They took away your ability to make a decision for yourself. That's the frustration.
That picture, though.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, while you're gathering yourselves, just remember, go to Disinfect with Sniper this week and get whatever you need. They have a bunch of great products. Just don't buy Sniper this week.
Going on sale.
Yeah. Disinfect with Sniper.
There's nothing like buying something and then not knowing. Well, if I had waited 48 hours.
And he was dumb enough to tell me.
We hate that. I don't like that, like, last second crap. We want everybody to enjoy it. I want you to enjoy Dr. Gundry's Healthy Fat, thehealthyfat.com/Wendy. I could give you a million reasons why I like it. But I think until you try it, until it becomes part of your hydration, part of your diet, I crave it. I miss it. I don't have it. It's empty. Like, I'm waiting for it. And I'm like, wow, I'm going to have to subscribe to this one too, just so I know I always have it. I like it that much. And that it's something that Dr. Gundry invented and then drank as the guinea pig and lost 70 pounds. Look, this isn't going to happen by next Thursday, but it is going to help you. It's going to be one of those tools. And if you're drinking water, scoop in, shake it up. The Healthy Fat, what does it do? It cuts your cravings, stops you from wanting to eat, makes you feel full, and allows you to basically lose significant weight in a reasonable amount of time. Thehealthyfat.com/Wendy. I miss it. I'm drinking the LTV. I'm drinking the liver hydration stuff, which I'm also interested in. So even if I get it, I'm not going to drink it until I drink all my LTV. I've got to make sure I give it my best. And so I can relate to you and tell you what my experiences are. I had no idea that your liver could be dehydrated, but it can. I'll tell you about that.
I try to hydrate mine with beer and bourbon.
Do you?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if you have an ice cube in there.
Oh, I made the Ice Cube by Wendy Bell Radio Ice Cube out of that Pure Cove.
Oh, yeah. Where did those people go?
I don't know, but you can really see. I looked at it last night. The cube looks fantastic.
You should take a picture so we can see it. Yeah, it's interesting. They sent us this very expensive setup, and then we had one read about it. And I haven't been able to ask you how you think.
Whatever. I like it.
You like it?
Yeah. Oh, hell yeah. I drink it every day.
Welcome back to the Wendy Bell Radio program. You know, sometimes it's good to enjoy watching bad people get exposed and ridiculed. Jesse Waters did a great job. He's like, look, during what should have been a serious time during the pandemic, a serious time of reflection, of public health policy, Tony Fauci was basically keeping the sour, devastating, negative news going 24/7. So his time in the limelight, his time to be everybody's hero, could be extended. That's diabolical.
Very nice person. We related well, and he told his producer that I was a superstar. The Fauci-meister believed his own press clippings, and eventually he thought of himself as a star among stars. Dear Diary, big surprise was that Bono made a video that was shown in which he lauded me as a true global hero and one of the most important people in the world over the past many decades. Very flattering and in keeping with how kind Bono has been to me over the years. Fauci was a smitten kitten. It was almost as if he thought Bono was seducing him. Dear Diary, amazingly, in the middle of the concert in front of 25,000 people, Bono dedicated a song, Miracle Drug, to me. Fauci was infatuated with himself. Attention was his crack. Fauci's photo shoots for GQ made him feel like he was the belle of the ball. Dear Diary, the fashion editor for GQ decided that he wanted a hip look for me, so he opened my tie and shirt button, got rid of my jacket, and replaced my dress shoes with sneakers. It was very cool. Then the pandemic hit, and Fauci was launched into the celebrity stratosphere. Michael Jackson-level fame. Most doctors overseeing a deadly pandemic that ripped the country apart would show some humility, would try not to feed into the fame factor, would conduct himself in a professional, sober, and humble way. But Fauci's bedside manner was that of a 13-year-old girl meeting their celebrity crush. And the celebrity crush was himself. Dear Diary, Fauci madness continues with multiple articles and every sort of paraphernalia and restaurant and foods named after me. Fauci devoured the attention like a fat kid in Baskin-Robbins. Every compliment, he jotted it down.
And then he continues, he's like, look, Fauci bathed in the attention and deep down knew the virus didn't deserve a lockdown. But he was so dedicated, addicted to the adoration, he couldn't stop.
But Fauci was on a roll and could not be stopped. It was Beatlemania. Dear Diary, there were the usual selfies galore. Fauci didn't complain. He was in no rush. Most doctors fighting a pandemic would skip the selfies and get straight to work. Not him. He bathed in the attention. Deep down, he knew the virus wasn't that deadly. He'd inflated the fatality rate. If he told the truth, the country wouldn't lock down, and Hollywood, who loved being alone in their mansions, undisturbed, wouldn't beckon. Dear Diary, Joan Baez called me, and we had a wonderful conversation with her calling me an American hero. Dear Diary, Joan Baez will receive the Kennedy Center Award. She has invited me as her guest. What fun! Just spoke with her over the phone to check if there will be mask wearing, since the press will have a field day if they saw me with Joan, and we did not have masks. Obviously, Fauci knew the mask mandate was a ruse, but had to keep up appearances. And as we read deeper into the diary, it appears Fauci thought celebrities were sexually attracted to him. Dear Diary, I received virtually the Award of Courage, presented to me virtually by Julia Roberts from her breakfast room in her home in Northern California. She was so charming. When my image came up on the screen, she gasped and said that every time she sees me, her throat gets dry and she gets nervous and excused herself to go into the kitchen to get a glass of water. Fauci was hot.
To Fauci. Fauci obsesses over Fauci is what the banner at the bottom of his picture said. Like, look, so there's so many levels of gross in this whole chapter of world history. And so much of it centers around this one guy. And the Democrats show again and again, they are always behind the wrong people. They are always behind the wrong message. They are always about the wrong ways to spend your money. They are always the wrong way to handle any situation, to choose a winner or a loser, to choose an idea and to go with it. They are always wrong. Always. And it's cost them. It has cost them, and it has made them broke. They are now functioning at a $2 million deficit as a political party, the DNC, working at a $2 million loss. And if that's not bad enough, did you hear about the scam the DNC fell for? You will not believe this one. No wonder Democrats should never be trusted with America's cash flow. Next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. I wonder if you could smell this in here. I want him to walk in and see if he can smell it. Because I can, and I think it's delicious.
I still have to work. Hold on.
Let's see what he thinks. Tell me if you can smell anything.
Smells like fresh linens.
Hmm. Here,
I
come.
wouldn't know what that is.
Come closer.
It would cost me to do laundry.
I just don't want it to be too strong. Like if you spray it, it'll be like in your face.
No, I like it.
I like it. We're like sampling wine right now, but it's just perfume. Oh, geez. Do you get it up your nose?
It smells clean.
Yes, that's what I like about it.
Yeah. Did you spray that instead of showering today, or?
No, I spritzed it though. I just threw stuff on the ground. Don't you worry about it. Let me tell you guys about LTV, drink LTV. You know, when I think about my liver, I only think about how much alcohol I drink. And so I'm like, oh no, I don't think that I need to hydrate my liver. I'm like, well, I mean, I drink enough water. And it's like, you could drink an ocean of water. It's not going to your liver. I did not know that. And then you're like, well, electrolytes are good for me. And they are, and they're good for your liver, except the way you get them, usually with drinks, is that the drinks have sugar and added color and salt. So that is where this LTV hydration and support for your liver comes into play. It's got a delicious citrus flavor. I put it in my drink, and it's what I'm drinking until I'm done with the bag, and I want to see what happens. So if you're like I am, and you get to that point where you often feel bloated after you eat, you feel kind of sluggish, we can chalk off a lot of this sort of stuff to getting older. And you're like, well, I mean, I am 56. And then Dr. Josh Levitt came around and he's like, yeah, I don't think so. When you're bloated and your skin looks dull and you don't have that pop and you're just like all the time, you could be suffering the effects of a dehydrated liver. And that is what's so great about this supplement. Look, let me tell you what's in this supplement. It's all natural stuff. It's electrolytes, marine electrolytes. So electrolytes from the sea, right? With taurine. What does that mean? I don't know, but it's not a drug I can't pronounce from Moderna. And that and a bunch of other dandelion root, milk thistle. I give you the names of the ingredients because they're natural. These are things that occur in nature. They just happen to be going into this powder that you drink. And after a few weeks, if you drink it every day, you're going to be able to report some things that they tell me I'm going to see. You're going to say hello to real energy, smoother digestion, and a body that actually feels hydrated for the first time in years. Apparently, it's very powerful. You'll be amazed, they say. I've only been in for about a week, so it's not been that long. But I can tell you that I have absolutely no side effects that are bad. And I can't tell you that I'm any less thirsty or otherwise, but I think if you have dull looking skin, if you're bloating after you eat, if you feel just kind of like a poo sandwich, go to drinkltv.com/Wendy, up to 64% off. It's a great time to try it. If you want to do it with me, I hope you do. I'm liking it. drinkltv.com/Wendy, up to 64% off. It's an odd thing to say as a promo code, but I'll take it.
No, Froggy threw money at you.
Oh.
Like a stripper. But a high class one. Froggy, 76, $100. It's official. Trump signed an exec. That's what I just sent her. Trump signed an executive order restricting mail-in ballots.
That's a biggie. That is a biggie, and we can do that. Thank you, Froggy. Thank you for all you do. Appreciate ya. Let's see.
Aunt Mel 971, don't ruin it. I pulled that too.
What?
We'll play it tomorrow.
Which
I just sent you one. Another one.
Anonymous?
Yeah.
Yep. It'll be interesting to see what happens. It'll be interesting to see what they do. What a tool.
Where are we at on comments?
Oh. I haven't been paying attention. I kind of got drifted off into this other
Don't.
world. What do you mean?
It's depressing.
Comments?
Yeah.
429?
They kind of
That's not depressing. I'd love to get.
It got us excited because we were getting like over 700, 800.
Well, hey, let's get 600. Let's see if we can get 600. I'm so glad you're here. Thank you. We got 707 watching on X, which has been exciting. We have almost 5,000 on Rumble. Duh.
Amanda's trying to do my job.
What's she doing?
She's sending me thing about deep. I got it. I got it.
She's sending you stuff about what?
The deep fake quotes.
Ah. I love it. I'll never forget that when my sister was like, well, you're not vaccinated, so I guess we can't go to the restaurant I want to go to. And I was like, I don't care. Go ahead. Y'all go. Not going to make me feel bad about it. It's kind of how I feel about a lot of these weight loss shots and whatnot. You know, I know some people who have lost their minds, becoming almost anorectic now on some of these weight loss things. And it's like, this isn't going to end well. This isn't going to end well. Eating well and exercising, that can end well. The path you're on is not going to end well because it's not a shot every day, every week. That's not living. That's just not being fat. I don't know. I'd rather have flavor and enjoy my life than just be skinny. I don't know. You?
I've never been skinny, so I can't.
I've been a boba laddie a couple times.
Yeah, you were pregnant.
No,
I looked pregnant and wasn't pregnant.
I put on some
They asked
weight.
me when I was due.
Oh, please. Never happened.
Right.
Never happened.
Right.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Wendy Bell, America's anchor mom, fighting for America 1 hour at a time. Welcome to the family.
We have put together, I think, the most extensive and inclusive voter fraud organization in the history of American politics. The election was rigged. I don't need you to get me elected. I need you once I'm elected.
It was a dirty election.
No longer just who gets the vote. It's about who gets to count the vote.
It's happening right now in California.
Whether your vote counts at all.
It's appropriate.
That's how they
that
count the votes in
Do you think it's
It's about who gets to count the votes. To count the vote. Count the vote. Count the vote.
that have an election and 5 days later they're nowhere close to picking a
State
winner?
and local officials acknowledge they are slow. They're urging.
No, they're crooked.
It's about election subversion.
You know why they're doing that? Because they're cheating on the election.
What? Do you have evidence?
You're either crooked or you're stupid. You play right into their hands.
Who counts the vote?
3 hours of bold truth and excellence. You've just signed up for the WBR Army. Strap in. This is the Wendy Bell radio program.
Welcome back, my friends. Hour number 3 of the Wendy Bell radio program is live. Let's begin with a little breaking news here. It is official. President Trump has apparently signed an executive order restricting the use of mail-in ballots nationwide. There was a district court judge that had to rule on whether or not the president could do that. And they ruled yesterday, apparently, that the lawyers that were going against this, that were going against the restricting of mail-in ballots, they didn't have the ability to do it. They were found beyond the parameters of their roles. And so the judges were like, no, you can't do that. Trump is allowed to restrict mail-in ballots. It's exactly what he's doing. Apparently should go into effect. before our midterms coming up in November, a temporary measure until the Save America Act is passed, and that certainly is the good news. Now, I was long in a segment before. I want to play you this Stephen Miller soundbite because, if you trust the polls out there, and we really don't, this particular one is going to interest you. And I'm just going to give you the top line on it because it's very interesting. 81% of Democrats admit that they are lame. And you're like, wait a minute, what's that? 81% of Democrat-leaning voters say their midterm vote will be a vote against Trump. It's not a vote for Democrats. It's not a vote for policy. It's not a vote for anything fiscal. It's not about any kind of issue. It is about one man, their complete seething hatred for him. 81%. So regardless of everything else, they vote Democrat because that means down with Trump. So Stephen Miller said something very interesting yesterday that I think is true and the perfect setup for where the Democrat Party just got taken for a ride. He's on with Sean Hannity, the national treasurer, and he's talking about how these people like this squad who 10 or 15 years ago might have been considered fringe or wild or extreme, they've now become the middle of the party. That's the center, the moderate view of the party. That's how crazy it is. And Stephen Miller calls this out. Listen.
The people you mentioned, the names you mentioned, AOC, Bernie, the squad, Omar, these are people who even 10 or 15 years ago would have been relegated to the outer extreme fringes of the Democrat Party. They're now the center of the party. They're the heart of the party. They're the soul of the party. So the Democrats have become a party of freaks, weirdos, losers, and crazies. But you can't laugh it off because it's deadly serious. Wow. When you give these people power, everything you know and love in this world falls apart. You have chaos, corruption, decay, violence, poverty.
Well, I don't think you can refute that, considering today's headline at redstate.com. Hilarious. You won't believe the scam the DNC fell for. Apparently, the Democrat National Committee has a lot of issues. There's some reports of their chairman, Ken Martin, throwing tantrums and phones at people. People at the DNC are leaking like sieves, despite Martin chastising them not to do so. The biggest problem, they're in big money trouble as they head towards the midterms, particularly in comparison to the Republicans. They're $2 million in debt. The Republican National Committee is flush with close to $130 million. It's so bad, in fact, finances, they even had to put their headquarters up for collateral to get a piddly, by fundraising standards, $15 million loan to limp through the midterms. But perhaps even more damaging to their hopes, the DNC normally has transferred millions of dollars every election year to sister committees responsible for winning the House and Senate, and they don't have the money. But now there's another report that tells you something about their issues with money. It's both ridiculous and hilarious at the same time. A thief apparently scammed the cash-strapped DNC out of nearly $29,000 last year, according to interviews with committee officials and previously unreported federal records. How did it happen? Had to be intense, right? They had to be like crackerjack thieves, real talented now. In February 2025, an unknown party sent a fraudulent email to a committee staffer, a DNC committee staffer. Somebody we don't know. Why did they send it to this committee staffer? Nobody knows. But they pretended to be Chairman Ken Martin. So I'm going to pretend to be Ken Martin, the head of the DNC. I'm going to put in this thing to this staffer. A DNC official familiar with the matter confirmed that Ken Martin had begun his tenure just days before, and the staffer, who no longer is at the DNC, made the payment. The person pretending to be Ken Martin's like, yeah, I need $29,000, put it to this account and this and that. And she was like, okay. They were able to claw back like $7,000. And they're like, are you kidding me? Did the scammer identify himself as a Nigerian prince too? I mean, you just send money out because of such an email. And of course, the DNC, they're like, well, she's no longer with us. Well, I hope not. But no wonder. This is how they suck at everything. I mean, even just managing money. So then you've got this Senate candidate in Massachusetts. He's a congressman named Seth Moulton. And he's on CNN. He wants to bounce from the House to the Senate. And he's talking about the Democrat Party covering up its own inner disasters. No leadership, no mission. no money. It's unusual to hear a Democrat drop the gloves and speak this candidly about their platform.
Do you think the Democratic National Committee is a mess?
Yes, I do. And months ago, I called on Ken Martin to resign. The bottom line is that the leadership of the Democratic Party right now is a mess. And this is not the first time they've tried to hide this mess. Remember, Ken Martin said that they would release an autopsy report on what went wrong in 2024 so that we could turn it around and start winning in 2026. And then he covered that up. So we're covering up all kinds of mess.
You know what? And it's interesting. I wonder what David Hogg has to say. You know, he was the guy who was the vice chair with Ken Martin, who Ken Martin ostensibly booted from the DNC. I wonder what David Hogg, he just admitted too that the DNC is a complete and utter disaster. Let's listen in.
I saw the writing on the wall early on. I remember talking about some of the issues that were going on that helped to decide the election. Let's remember here, one of the main things that Chair Ken Martin ran on releasing was an autopsy report that would bring real accountability to the DNC, and that was totally fumbled, where there was no mention of Gaza, there was no mention of inflation, there was no mention of the president's age, or any actual issues that decided the election, and they couldn't even be bothered to include a conclusion in that. Then you add on top of that it's now been 18 months, and they had to put the building up as collateral, and they're $2 million in debt. And then you juxtapose that with the progressive movement and what's going on out there. It's incredibly sad to see the DNC in the committee at this point, and it could not be more clear that he's unfit to lead. We need somebody who can actually raise money and also not throw his phone at staff.
Now, this isn't on my bingo card, but James Carville, who's apparently recovering in his bed from hernia surgery, he said something, political strategist for the Democrats, he said something about David Hogg taking over at the DNC. Just step in and get rid of this Ken Martin guy, David. You go ahead and do that. And this is what David Hogg said also in response. Listen.
If David Hogg wants to take it over, I ain't stopping you. Go ahead, man. I don't really care.
You want the job?
No. Well, let me tell you this much. The fact that James Carville, who just less than a year ago was calling me a, quote, twerp, for going out there and challenging asleep at the wheel geriatric Democrats that are literally passing away in power and potentially costing us a future majority. He went from that to saying that I should be running that as a testament to where we are. James Carville and I agree on very little, including me being chair of the DNC. I don't think that I should be. But what I do know is that there is any number of people that could do a significantly better job than Ken Martin that would help to raise money for the institution and also wouldn't throw their phone at staff.
Like who?
I mean, there's any number of them that are out there that I would leave up to the DNC members to decide, because clearly they're not very interested in what I think. Because I went into that institution to try to change it and say we need to bring in some fresh blood. You saw what happened with me. I tried to fix it on the inside. It was very clear that that was not welcomed.
America does not want what Democrats are selling, guys, period. And then there's this headline. The Joseph R. Biden Foundation has abandoned plans for a presidential library. Quote, there's not enough public interest or donors to get it off the ground. What? I thought he got 81 million votes. The Joseph R. Biden Foundation just quietly abandoned all plans for a presidential library in Delaware. Their own statement admits the brutal truth. There's not enough public interest or donors to get it off the ground. Joe Biden is now on track to become the first president since William Henry Harrison, who only served 31 days to leave office without a library named in his honor. No one wants to fund it. No one wants to visit it. No one wants to remember it. Please. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, oh my goodness. Got to read a little Wall Street Journal headline for you. You mean there's a serious effort underway to expunge Trump's 2 impeachments? Oh, yeah. And you'll love the Democrat turned Republican who's part of the team. Next. All right, let me tell you about Wendy Loves Gold. Wendy Loves Gold. It's Texas Bullion Exchange, but I say Wendy Loves Gold because that's the website you're going to land on. WendyLovesGold.com. It's very simple. Here we go. And I love this. I got this in the mail at my house. America's 250th, an historic coin at an historic price. 25,000 of these coins minted, the Liberty Bell Privy Mark. That's what it's called. With semi-Q dates of 1776 to 2026. It's got a West Point mint mark on it. That's what it looks like. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? They've only made 2,500 of these. This is one of these things they want you to know about because they make limited edition for collectors only. And I'll tell you what, if you get into collecting gold and silver, it's really fun. It is really fun to get precious metals and to watch the value of your investment grow. And as a mom with 5 kids, it's also very nice for me to buy these products because I can pass them down to my children. I don't have to cash it in when I'm ready to cash out and have this stuff liquidated. I can move it on to my children and they can have it and watch it grow. 855-927-5557, wendylovesgold.com. Ask about a gold-backed IRA. The thing I love about them is they want to be part of your future, part of your retirement plans. They don't want to just sell you a couple coins and be like, good luck. Like they want to be a part of your thought process, which I think is very alluring. Very nice. Very nice. And we've got, what do we have? We have today, tomorrow, and Friday. 3 more days of Kelly Morgan's $99 offer for the Wendy Bell Radio family. If you want to lose weight and you want to do it remotely, you can do so at morgainsfitness.com, MORGAINZ fitness.com. She'll help you with the foods to eat, things to stay away from, and exercise. You do all the work. $99. Now, if you want the chat, you want the back and forth, the give and go, you want her to be able to communicate with you and you with her, that's called 90 Ignite. That costs a little bit more and it's available to you on our website. But 3 more days of the $99 weight loss plan for you guys, which I think is very exciting. Very exciting. I thought David Hogg sounded very based there.
Yeah, I did too.
I thought he sounded perfectly reasonable. Like he might have been one of those voices 7 or 8, 10 years ago with Sandy Hook and whatnot, where he just sounded nutty. And now all of a sudden he's like the normal one of the party and everybody else is off the cliff.
I have a question about the Biden thing, which, I mean, the Biden library is essentially that bookstore that has all the used books.
That's a sweet little library. It's a free little library.
Yeah, just put one of those on the street, But so the money that was raised, where's that go?
I don't know if there was any. I don't think they had any. They had no dollars of his last year of his being in office. $0.
Wow.
Look, I will find that story. $0 for Joe.
I mean, where are they going to put
Biden
Jill's book?
Library.
In his book. And Jake Tapper's book.
2024. Let me see. Yeah. Isn't this whole story in and of itself is such a it's such a cue that everything that you've suspected is true. And what you've suspected is that none of it is real. And you'd be right about that. I mean, to be honest, the whole story of the Joe Biden presidential library, I mean, the whole Joe Biden presidency was such a joke. There's no way anybody in America believes that he got more votes than either Donald Trump or Barack Obama. No world, no how, no time, no way. And anybody who wants to tell you that can suck it. We're done playing reindeer games. And quite frankly, this being right all the time, I wish I got my rocks off. But I don't. I just want people to tell us the truth. This was a headline a year ago. Former President Joe Biden has reportedly raised only, quote, a small fraction of the funds needed to construct a presidential library, according to a report from the New York Times on Saturday. Brock, you're right. They had raised something. Apparently, they got no donations in 2024. Zero. If you happen to be one of our Hispanic friends, zero. $0 in Joe Biden's last year in office, right? It was instead seeded with $4 million left over from his 2021 inauguration. That answers your question, Brock. Where does that money go? I have no idea. I have no idea.
I bet it buys some Hunter art.
Wow. I thought he lost it all in the fire. Such a shame. So here's a Wall Street Journal headline for you. Trump and allies are working on plan to expunge impeachments. Republican-backed symbolic resolution would put lawmakers on record regarding the two impeachments during Trump's first term. It should be done because I did nothing wrong, Trump said when asked by a Wall Street Journal reporter. Alan Dershowitz was asked about this by Sean Spicer on Sean Spicer's podcast last night. Apparently, the band is getting back together, you guys. Alan, along with attorney Jay Sekulow and the other attorneys who defended Trump against impeachment and convinced the Senate not to impeach him. Well, they're getting back together to bat a little cleanup. Listen.
I want to start with this bombshell that I read in the Wall Street Journal that says that the White House was consulting you on undoing an impeachment. And who better to ask than the man who knows the Constitution backwards and forwards if this is possible. So what's the answer?
Yes, not only is this possible, it's, I think, quite likely to happen. In criminal trials, if you find that the government withheld exculpatory evidence, you can void the conviction and even the indictment. And here we have firm evidence that the Democrats withheld relevant exculpatory information from the first impeachment. I'm only involved, by the way, in the first impeachment, not the second one. I was the lawyer. I was one of the lawyers I read in front of the Senate. So I have an interest in making sure it's undone. And I know that there's been conversations with the Speaker of the House and others, and there is a precedent. Andrew Jackson was censured by the Senate. And then a few years later, they undid the censure when new information came out. And impeachment is really not that different. It's like an indictment. He was acquitted, of course, but nonetheless, the impeachment still remains on the books, and we want to take it off the books. And I think we have a reasonable chance of succeeding. I think we will succeed in the House. And then the question is, if they bring a case to the court, will they succeed? And I think the answer to that is no. It's a political question. And I don't think that the courts will interfere.
Would be the House of Representatives, Professor, essentially expunging the president's record to erase that first impeachment. Is that what's going on?
Impeachment is a political tool, not a criminal tool. You don't go to political jail. You just have the stain on your mark or get removed from office. So you could equally remove it, right? Does it matter that it's a different Congress, though? Because, right, it's not the same Congress that did it. It's like having a different jury.
It's a great question. I think, I have to check. It was a different Congress that did it with Andrew Jackson as well. I don't think it should matter. Congress constitutionally is a body, and that body can undo what another body did. For example, Jefferson tried very hard to pass legislation that couldn't be undone by future Congresses, and he was rebuffed. And future Congresses can always undo what past Congresses did, except if they're constitutional amendments, then it has to go through a much more complicated process. But any ordinary legislative act can be undone. So I think we have a fair chance of prevailing, and we should prevail on the merits, because Trump's first impeachment was unconstitutional and wrong, and I think we can undo it.
Think about all of the things that the Democrats have done that have slowed simple peace and prosperity in this country. All of their ridiculous stories, the thefts of elections, the open border, the bringing of people, the fleecing of the American taxpayer, the theft of our money, the laundering through NGOs, the bullcrap on medicine. Believe the science. I will leave you in this segment before we go to Rob Finnerty. It was a great takedown of Fauci yesterday. I mean, it was fabulous. I want to remind you what Dr. Anthony Stephen Fauci tweeted out on January 24th of 2025. I want to thank President Joe Biden for pardoning me. It was the right thing to do. I was unnecessarily persecuted by sitting congressmen like Rand Paul and many others, and I'm thankful for Biden's decision. Oh, be scared, little man. Disgraced. Rob Finnerty's takedown, brutal. Necessary. Next. It's so great. It's so great how he does that. Ooh, my Riverbend Ranch steaks are out for delivery. I love how just a comment that I make creates some kind of a snide remark on
What are
your
you
behalf.
talking about?
I heard you go, you don't think I can hear you, you turd? You're so lame.
Wow.
Look at how lame you are. Look at you. You're smirking because you know you went, and you know that I can hear you. It's so gross. It's very unfortunate. We don't want to see you anymore. That's all I can say. Wow is right. All right, let's talk. Who did I forget? The Simkoviches
In the Ireland.
and the Irelands. I haven't talked about either of them. I do hope that if you or someone you know has problems with their brain, right? And I'm not talking about your psychological, your wacky, whatever. We all are. I'm talking about pain. I'm talking about, you know, something is off. You got hurt. You got in an accident. You were a soldier. You were injured. And this is not, it's not working the way it should. And you know it's not working the way it should. Like, where do you go? Who do you turn to? And I have one go-to guy. I have a guy. I've never really had guys. I've got a guy. And his name is Dr. Charles Simkovich. And he runs the Simkovich Concussion Institute. SimkovichConcussionInstitute.com, 412-366-3700. And to spend 20 odd years of your life helping one brain at a time get back to its God-given strength and normality is the greatest gift. How many tens of thousands of people Dr. Simkovich and his staff have helped? I can't even fathom. The Amish go to see him like white on rice. I guess when they get injured, whether they're by, their livestock or things that they're doing, building things in their communities, there's always Amish in Dr. Simkovich's waiting room. There's a great reason for that. They're not very trusting of medicine. They are trusting of healers, the Amish. And Dr. Simkovich is a healer. Let him heal you. 412-366-3700. Let him heal you. All right, and I can tell you this too, Ireland contracting. So I'm going to have Dan. I'm really excited to get Dan back at my house. He is the Ireland son who's their electrician. I have a bunch of lights that were removed from these builders that are still connected to all the things they need to be connected to, but they're not in the right place. So it's going to be the perfect time after construction is done, set up all these beautiful lights in the yard, finally illuminate my very pretty house, and then put down a bunch of sod and mulch. That's going to be it. And then we'll be done. We'll be done. And I can't wait. Ireland contracting. I know Dan is waiting for my call, and I'm going to have him out and look at what we have and come up with a plan. And it's not going to be cheap, but getting somebody who knows what they're doing to do it right is important to me. And that's Ireland Contracting, 1-800-NEW-ROOF, IrelandContracting.com. Get an estimate. Home exterior remodeling experts. They're fantastic, and I trust them. What else is going on, Brock? Do you still smell it?
Mm-hmm.
Do you still like it? I do.
Yeah.
It has to be just right. He pays such close attention to me, doesn't he? That's all I'm saying. Let's see. What do I have? Oh.
Trying to set up Monday. Our guy is not the guy anymore.
Harmony Organic Insect Control. Disinfectwithsniper.com. Do you have ants? You won't after you use this. Do you have, let's see, lice in your soil? There's such thing as soil lice. How about green fruit worms, aphids, spotted mites, and hundreds of other garden pests, including brown and spotted mites? Harmony Organic. Get it. Disinfectwithsniper.com. I'm telling you. You needs it.
Just don't buy Sniper.
What's going on over there?
Nothing.
Nothing? Let's see how you guys are doing. I've been fussy. I haven't been paying attention to you. I'm sorry. I'm with you. Let's see. 501 comments. Some of these guys out there who are actually telling the truth. You have only a handful of people who I would say I trust, who I would listen to. I believe Katie Pavlich. I believe Catherine Herridge. I believe Bill Malusian over at Fox News. And I believe a couple of guys over at Newsmax. One of them happens to be Rob Finnerty, whose effect on the air in his loathing of bad actors is so enjoyable to me. I love everything that Rob Finnerty does when he gets fussy, because I'm like, yeah, I feel the same way, buddy. I love what you're doing. And I wanted you to hear it because you're not alone. You're not in the minority. You're not some island nation that seems to know what's going on and everybody else doesn't. We're aware of what's happening. And the truth is coming out. It's never going to be fast enough. It's just not. But when Rob Finnerty tees up the diary of Anthony Fauci and plays it, it's worth all of that and so much more. So here he is from Newsmax. He's going through Fauci's self-adoring diary entries. And Finnerty reminds us basically how the good doctor lied multiple times under oath. He goes back and he pulls up stuff that Newsmax aired and he puts it together in what is a very effective 7-minute monologue. We've cut it up because it's worth it. Audio soundbite number 1. Rob Finnerty says, look, Fauci palled around with Jake Tapper and ate lobster while you and I were in lockdown, expected to test our family members for COVID before Thanksgiving. Don't forget that. Listen.
Tony Fauci was at Jake Tapper's house having lobster. They weren't wearing masks. While you were locked down, while your business was forced to close, Tony and Jake were sipping anisette, making fun of Laura Ingraham. My team has gone through all of this, the entire Tony Fauci man diary, and it is worse than we ever imagined. And this guy's going to testify tomorrow. Here's an entry from July 2020, quote, after my Laura Ingraham hit, Jake Tapper texted me saying sarcastically, hard to believe Laura Ingraham went to Dartmouth, isn't it? All of us alumni are very proud, end quote. Apparently, Jake went to Dartmouth, Ivy League school, and he can't believe that somebody dirty like Laura Ingraham went to the same school and graduated from the same school. And you can just picture Jake at the Dartmouth Club in Washington, Big D, making fun of Laura with all of his closest lifelong friends. Here's another entry from Tony dated July 13th, 2020. Quote, yesterday, Florida had 15,000 infections, the most for any state since the beginning, because Tony, of course, always starts with the death. He always talks about the death toll in almost every journal entry. Then he gets to the most important news of the day, which is where Tony is at his very Tony best, Fauci on Fauci, that portion of the diary entry. Quote, major show of support for me from multiple sectors. I don't know what that means. Most people expressing outrage that the Trump administration would be so bumbling and incompetent to try and discredit the most credible scientist in the world, end quote. Tony Fauci actually wrote that about himself. Think about that.
Tony Fauci actually wrote that about himself. Think about that. We've all grown up around or had to work with or have known people who are just such blowhards when it comes to themselves. It's so off-putting. It's so off-color. It's gross to be around. And here he is. I'm the world's best. Dear Tony, I love you. Love, Tony. Rob Finnerty continues. He's like, you remember what they did to you when you questioned the science? Like his Hollywood got fooled by his con. He was lying under oath.
How dare you question the science because no one questions the great all-knowing Tony Fauci. And if you did, they kicked you off social media. They kicked you off Facebook because science was invented for Tony. Tony Fauci is science, and science is Tony Fauci. And he was worshipped by people like Julia Roberts because of it.
Hello. Hi there.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Oh, this is such a thrill. How are you?
Pretty good, I guess. You know, it's a little bit like running on fumes for a couple of months, but
I would imagine this is a thrill for me because there are very few experts of anything in the world, I think, and you truly have emerged as a personal hero for me. Just to have this little corner of your time for us is such a joy.
How embarrassing is that? Seriously, like for both of them, especially Julia Roberts. Here's another entry from November 23rd, 2022, after a hearing on Capitol Hill. One of his first, quote, I must say, I did extraordinarily well, and the DOJ lawyers said that was one of the best performances they have ever seen, end quote. That was Tony's take on what happened. Now, here's what really happened, but don't take my word for it. Here's his old dinner buddy, Mr. Dartmouth himself.
I don't know how many times I can say it, Madam Chair. We did not fund gain-of-function research to be conducted in the Wuhan Institute of Virology.
We now know that a bat coronavirus was enhanced in a lab.
The NIH and NIAID categorically has not funded gain-of-function research to be conducted in the Wuhan Institute of Virology.
The National Institutes of Health acknowledged that it funded research of a virus that was studied at the Wuhan Institute of Virology.
Oh, Jake and Tony. More red wine, please, honey, while you're in the kitchen for Jake and Tony.
I mean, you need to have a little bit of comic relief when you want to lunge through the camera and throat punch somebody and throw them down the stairs. I'm just going to say that. And then audio soundbite 3 is not done. Remember how Fauci bragged about closing schools and setting America's kids back years in their learning, and then how he lied about it? Yeah, because we do.
Tony also claimed that he never recommended shutting down schools.
They always come back and say Fauci was responsible for closing schools. I had nothing to do. I mean, let's get down to the facts. You really want to think twice before you start putting kids back to school.
we have a lot of infection going on. I think you've really got to use judgment and carefully consider, do you really want to put the kids back in school?
I believe was the right decision. How long you kept them closed.
Well, isn't that interesting? We could go on. Tony claims he had nothing to do with shutting down public schools for 3 years But here's his diary entry that we found from March 20th. Quote, I spoke with Bill de Blasio and convinced him, based on what I was saying publicly in my conversation tonight, to close New York City schools. I had a similar call with Ann O'Leary, the chief of staff for Governor Gavin Newsom, and Ann said, based on my TV appearances, the governor has decided to close the schools in California as well as the bars and the restaurants. End quote. And there you have it. Tony, in his own words, Tony recommended that schools should be shut down, and millions of children were forced into remote learning on iPads that many students didn't have or couldn't afford or weren't provided. And more than 100,000 restaurants closed their doors forever and never reopened.
Are all of the people who should be so embarrassed, who should be saying, oh my gosh, I can't believe I fell for it. I can't believe I pressured you to fall for it. I can't believe that I didn't let you see your grandchildren because you couldn't prove to me that you were vaccinated. And that's what I thought was necessary. I'm sorry. Are those days going to come? Are those comments going to come? No. I don't think so. I think it would take a very rare liberal to be able to see outside the con and see their own cruelty and lack of common sense. Finally, Rob Finnerty says, in the finale, he says exactly what you and I feel.
While Tony was messaging with people like Jake Tapper and Chuck Todd and Chris Wallace and Barbara Streisand, by the way, in another diary entry, Tony is writing about an Instagram post with supermodel Tyra Banks. And Tony Fauci wrote, quote, one person said that Tyra was very sexy, but that I was even more sexy than she was. Again, this is an 80-year-old man writing in his journal that somebody commented on an Instagram post that he was sexier than a supermodel 50 years younger than him. What a weirdo. What a sicko. What a tool. My opinion.
What a tool. What a tool. My opinion. That is how I came up with today's title. Just what a tool. See, the thing that's hard about this situation is I don't understand it. I don't understand why people fall for it. I don't understand why some people are more susceptible to it. I don't understand the digging in, even when that small piece, that glimmer of common sense flickers in their brain that maybe they should back off. They can't help themselves. It's like they need to find something to be afraid of, to complain about, to be miserable over, some reason for living. And it can't simply be living in the greatest place on planet Earth and being free people. I don't get it. I don't. We walk through every single story. We played all of the audio that you heard today that are flashbacks back to the day. Because in the moment, you weren't fooled and neither were we. And you and I walked this weird journey of enlightenment together going, I hope more people wake up. Come on, see the light. Get out the smelling salts. Do one of something. Snap out of it. You're in a trance. But I have only one recourse, and I guess it's just to say what I've said many times. Sadly, some people simply will not be saved. Quick time out on the Wendy Bell radio program. Back right after this. It's just bizarre. It's just bizarre. I just don't understand the psychology of why some people fall for it and other people don't. Why some people are afraid and they're panicked and they feel the need to follow the rules and I must be a robot and I must fill the and then we're like, this is ridiculous. You mean to tell me that cutting off a turtleneck from a shirt and putting it on my face is going to keep me alive from the freaking virus? Are you out of your mind? Like Brock and I looked at each other and we were like, does he really have a turtleneck cut off and around his face as a gator? And yes, somebody we worked with did. And then the obligatory, I remember being on an airplane And they handed out, whatever, sun chips and water or what have you. But you had to wear a mask. So, and then the flight attendants became freaking Nazis. You had to do this. Every bite. And they stood there and they watched people. I'm like, there's something pathological about you. There's something super weird about you. If you're really going to sit on a plane and be a Nazi about that and watch people and be like, I said, cover up your mouth. You're like, what happened to you? I don't know. There's a psychological experiment there. Brock, what should we talk about? What do you think?
I sent you some.
Did you?
Jonathan Turkey.
Oh, wow. It's kind of a thread. Let's see. Hmm.
You see the story I just sent you?
Oh. I think he looked like shit. I think he looked absolutely awful and good. And I don't know. I'm not a mean person, but when that dude dies, I won't be upset in the least. Not in the least. I find him to be a vile and despicable human being. I don't think that's a shocker to anybody. So Chairman Paul.
We didn't talk about Mitch McConnell today.
That's a point. +1 for the left.
+1 for the deep state.
Oh, your girl looks pretty today.
I wouldn't know. I can't see her.
They don't have her so make-upped up. I think it's just news contributor. Welcome back to the Wendy Bell radio program. We're just trying to keep you updated as we send you off for the rest of your day. Chairman Paul, Jonathan Turley writes, is saying that he will proceed to a contempt vote. He is correct that this would have to be resolved by the courts. He was very clever in his final questions in crafting them as confined to the period of Fauci's pardon. That will likely give his lawyer some ammunition, he says. As for the waiver issues raised at the end, you talk about kind of some of the things that some of the people in Fauci's orbit, could they go down to? What kind of immunity is there for them? Well, it's interesting. Fauci is facing a number of threats going forward, including state hearings, adopting the bunker option, right? Some very interesting ideas here when you just refuse to answer any questions. What is the next move for Congress. Well, then there's this from the New York Post. Fauci gave off signals of deception during Senate hearing. Body language expert says. Well, let's find out. Dr. Anthony Fauci's demeanor gave off signals of deception during Wednesday's Senate Homeland Security Committee hearing. A renowned body language expert told the Post. Quote, when he was asked poignant questions, his automatic nervous system took over and he became flushed. His breathing changed. He hunched over. He looked paler. He squirmed around. He blinked a lot. He licked his lips. All signs of deception, Florida-based Dr. Lillian Glass wrote in an email. Glass added that Fauci's body language changed significantly at certain points of the hearing, shifting from confident and arrogant to guarded and weak. During Senator Josh Hawley's questioning, she wrote, Dr. Fauci's shoulders rose again and he squirmed visibly. His face became red. His voice weakened further and sounded increasingly shaky. He appeared emotionally strained and at moments looked as though he might cry. I agree. I mean, imagine coming from this exalted position of almost like deity power. This is what Julia Roberts and Joe Scarborough and every media outlet and these hacks, Democrats in politics, they exalted him and he believed it. And then in one fell swoop, in one hearing, the wheels fell off and no longer was he clamored for a soundbite. He was being shunned. He is a disgrace. And it's a wonderful thing. He looked like he might cry. When grilled by Senator Bernie Moreno, Fauci again became flushed and red, she recalled. His breathing appeared heavier. His voice became much softer and weaker, and by this point, he sounded meek and increasingly difficult to hear. Imagine you're, 84, 85? This is the time of your life that you enjoy every day that you're given. You're supposed to use your hard work of years gone by that have set you up ostensibly financially to do what you want, to go where you want to go, to see things that are important to you and hopefully someone or many people that you love. What does he have? He is a plummeting star. And not even the light figment of it. It's just also dark. All he wanted was more fame, more money, more. Have you ever reached that point where you have just enough? Where maybe winning something big. It'd be kind of fun for a while. It'd be neat to figure out what you would do with it. But at the end of the day, if things stayed just the way they were, you'd be one of the luckiest people in the world. If you can say that, and I can say that, you are blessed. It was never enough for Tony Fauci. And the collateral damage wasn't just here in the United States, it was around the world. The challenge going forward for all of us is now looking back at the voices and the faces you saw, if you were paying attention on the live video stream, to some of these people who 5 years ago, when we were telling you the truth and writing down the details so you could fact check us on how many kids really were dying because of coronavirus, these people were fawning over Tony Fauci and forcing you to believe what he said, and then jumping on you if you didn't. I will never forget. I will never trust them. And by golly, if the ratings for the television news folks stay in the crapper for the rest of eternity, I'd be just fine with that. Tony Fauci taking out a lot of industries, a lot of businesses, the media, Democrat politicians, the deep state, pharma, science, the FDA, the CDC. Whom do you trust now? Nobody. thanks to an American monster. Thanks for being a part of the Wendy Bell Radio program. See you tomorrow, 21 hours. Love you guys. Peace.